Welcome each one of you to the Halifax County Board of Commissioners meeting on this Monday, February 3rd, 9:30. Thank each one of you for being here. Meeting will officially come to order at this time. For the record, Attorney Rollins has got to be in court this morning, but he should be here shortly. Just want you all to know that. He's the county attorney. Next thing I want to note, under public comment period, we have had quite a few people who have signed up to speak, about 10. And I noticed that all 10 signed up is going to be talking about the Center for Energy Education. And of course, if you have like minds in talking about what you're going to present, I would suggest that you get together and consolidate, because we're not going to be able to hear from all 10. We only can hear probably from 5, and that'll be 3 minutes. It's a total of 15 minutes per hour policy. So if some of you are on the same page with that, what you can do is you can get together, and just when you come to speak, if you decide to consolidate, you can say that you represent these people in your presentation, and that will suffice as far as covering them as well. Okay? So I want to make that announcement because we're going to do several things before we get to that part of the agenda. Again, I want to welcome each one of you here. Thank you for being here. We're going to do the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to lead the invocation. Those of you who wish to join, please stand. Dear God, we thank you for this day. Dear Master, we thank you for life, health, and strength. But most of all, dear God, we thank you for your Son, Jesus, who hung, bled, and died for us all. As we assemble here today, we're asking for your divine guidance and direction. Heavenly Father, we're asking that whatever we do and whatever we say will be pleasing in your sight. Asking for a special blessing upon my colleagues and their families, and also our staff and the 48,000 citizens that we serve. Continue to guide and direct each of us and mold all of us into what you would have us to be, and forgive us of our shortcomings. These and all blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Collectively we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. I trust that my colleagues have had an opportunity to review the agenda. If it's your pleasure, I will so entertain a motion for the adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Webb, second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Next item is conflict of interest. In accordance with the Halifax County Board of Commissioners Rules of Procedure and the North Carolina General Statute Section 153A-44, it is the duty of every county commissioner to vote on all matters coming before the board unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any board member have a known conflict of interest with respect to matters coming before the Halifax County Board of Commissioners today? Commissioner Redding.
No.
None.
No conflict.
No conflict.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record so reflect that the 6 commissioners present do not have any conflict with matters coming before us today.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next item is the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have 3 items. Item A, budget amendments. Item B, property tax collection, refunds, and releases, January 2025. Item C, health carry forwards from fiscal year 24 into fiscal year 25. Commissioners, are there any questions or comments about the consent agenda? If not, I'll so entertain a motion for your approval.
So moved for approval.
Okay, motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Webb. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay, now we get into one of the most important parts of this program. Special recognitions. Item 2, on the special recognitions, we have recognized Sylvan Heights Bird Park as the NCTIA Visitor Attraction of the Year. We have our Executive Director, Lori Medlin, from the Halifax County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Do you have anyone with you, or are you by yourself?
I'm by myself right now, but Brent and Allie Lubbock are here.
Okay, very good. On you, Ms. Medlin.
Okay.
And thank you all for being here.
Good morning.
Morning.
For giving us this time and having us here today for a great celebration for Halifax County.
Absolutely.
On December 5th, 2024, the North Carolina Travel Industry Association awarded our highest honor, the North Carolina Visitor Attraction of the Year, to our very own Sylvan Heights Bird Park. They're here with us today, Allie Lubbock and Brent Lubbock. Founded in 1989 by internationally renowned aviculturists Mike and Allie Lubbock, Sylvan Heights began as a breeding center. The Lubbocks were drawn to North Carolina and Halifax County for our mild climate, our location on the East Coast, and I think our wonderful people as well. Many people stopped by to see what was happening at the breeding center. Groups requested tours. So finally, the Lubbocks decided they must find a way to share these birds with the public. And Sylvan Heights Bird Park was born. Sylvan Heights houses the world's most extensive collection of waterfowl and the second largest bird collection in the United States. The center is also the agricultural training site for conservation-oriented avian biologists, and I mean the site in the world. Today, Sylvan Heights Bird Park in Scotland Neck is on everyone's North Carolina bucket list. Sylvan Heights allows visitors to see over 2,000 birds from around the globe. From ducks and geese and swans to parrots, pheasants, cranes, owls, toucans, flamingos, and much more. The visitation numbers at Sylvan Heights reached over 62,000 visitors last year. The park anchors the town of Scotland Neck, attracting travelers from around the globe to visit this small town. Halifax County CVB partnered with the town of Scotland Neck to embrace the park by adding photos of the birds on the flags that take you down Main Street. And they also have one of Napoleon Hill's murals in Sylvan Heights depicting the park. But the Lubbocks didn't stop there. Their son, Brent Lubbock, grew up in the park, and today he serves as the Director of Operations. He reaches out on a regional and state level to partner and promote the park and STEM studies across North Carolina. Brent sits on the board, my board, the Halifax County Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Scotland Neck Business Association. He is chair of Rennet River Partners, and Brent is the chair of the board and president of the North Carolina Science Network. We are very proud of him. Mike and Allie have received many awards from around the United States, but I think probably the most dear to them was in April 2024, Mike was awarded the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire by King Charles to acknowledge his outstanding service for global wildlife conservation and water birds. Sadly, in September 2024, Mike passed away, but the overwhelming international response to his passing led to the first annual International World Waterfowl Day. And y'all, it was international. People from Australia to England, the Alaska Science Life Center to the Smithsonian, the Central Park Zoo to the Bronx Zoo, many, many countries that I couldn't even read what they were posting online because it was in Spanish. I mean, it was literally an international day talking about waterfowl and talking about Sylvan Heights and talking about Halifax County. As your tourism director, I was very proud. They've left no stone unturned in their noble cause to serve this underserved part of North Carolina. Halifax County is so proud of our very own Sylvan Heights Bird Park for winning the North Carolina Visitor Attraction of the Year. Thank you.
Now, this is the way we want to do it. I want you all to come up, you know, and make any comments, brief comments if you'd like to. Yes, sir, right now. And then after that, we're going to do one other thing. We're going to take a picture with everybody up here with you all. And of course, the media's here. Thank Richard Hall for being here. I know Lance Martin is here too. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you all being here. Okay?
I'd just like to say thank you so much to all of you, Halifax County in particular, Tourism Board for promoting Sylvan Heights so wonderfully. My husband received an awful lot of accolades since he passed and before. But this one is a great honour because it also reflects on all our staff and what a team we are. It's not a one-man show, it's all of us. So thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I just want to say that our next big thing is penguins. So if you guys haven't
All right.
visited, hopefully that'll give you a reason to visit. We're doing our groundbreaking this year, and we'll be opening that next year, and that should hopefully have a major increase in our visitation. But if you haven't visited, please come visit, and thank you guys for supporting us.
Right. You know, just before we take the picture, this is one of the hidden jewels in Halifax County. And we got another hidden jewel that's going to be coming up next after this. But Sylvan Heights is just unbelievable. My granddaughter, who's 3.5, she can't come home without coming down to the bird park. And we have a great time, and just about every time she comes in, we have to come down there. So thank all of y'all. Thank you for what you do for our community. And I want to encourage the citizens that if you have not visited the bird park, please do that. And we have relatives coming out of town, encourage them to do the same. This is really being spotlighted, and this honor that they're receiving today is not light, y'all. I mean, this is a tremendous honor from the state of North Carolina, and you know, Brett worked so hard, and he's a team player, and just thank him and his family and his staff for all that they do for the community. I'm going to ask all my colleagues, including the clerk and the county manager, everyone, let's go down and take a photo.
Yeah, no, I know my.
You know where they are. And then to tell everyone else, thank you. Last year, the recipient of this award was the Blue Ridge Parkway. So we're in good company.
All right, I'll just keep smiling. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Gorgeous.
Richard, are you okay?
Yep.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, I know we don't need action on this at all, but what I would like to do, Commissioners, I would just like for us to make a motion to accept this into our minutes to show that they have been duly recognized today. Can I get a motion to that effect? Motion by, I get a little action from the left side now, that's good. Motion by Commissioner Byrd, second by Commissioner Redden. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Just want to acknowledge that in the minutes, Madam Clerk, of their receipt. Okay, now, next item on the agenda,
Mr. Chairman, I believe that we're going to present a plaque to the Economic Development Commission to Sylvan Heights as well on the heels of this destination.
okay?
If that's okay?
Yep, you can do it now if you like.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been looking at the right opportunity to honor Mike Lubbock, and with the county making this wonderful presentation today, and this award as Destination of the Year, it's a perfect opportunity. So on behalf of the Halifax County Economic Development Commission, we're pleased to recognize Sylvan Heights as Destination of the Year. And we're just, the honor, to honor Mike Lubbock, the passion and vision and his dedication, he's left just an indelible mark on Halifax County. He not only contributed to the preservation of waterfowl and all the things that you've heard in Lori's presentation, but his just unwavering commitment to conservation and education made Halifax County a destination for researchers, wildlife enthusiasts, and visitors from around the world. And it is with great appreciation that we, the Halifax County Economic Development Commission, and Chairman Ronnie Lott, present a plaque in honor of Mike Lubbock. And Mr. Lott's going to come up and ask you all to come up and present the plaque.
Okay. And Ms. Mellon, will you come up too as the
Yes, absolutely.
tourism chair, executive director? Okay.
I'll get a picture of y'all.
In honor of Mike Levin, to the fame of Senator Mike Bird Paul, in recognition of Mike Levin, for his extraordinary version, passion, and dedication to the conservation of birds, in the fame of President Mike Bird Paul, his life and his legacy, his role in intelligent beauty, education, and inspiration to Halifax County and beyond. His inspirational role was called today that we will celebrate each year on January 17th, presented with heartfelt appreciation by the Halifax County Economic Development Commission on this third day of February 26th.
Come on, one more for me. Yeah, thank you. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3.
Great, glad not covering the witness protection.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. Okay, thank you all so much. The next item on the special recognition we have is the recognized Welland Mills Distillery as one of North Carolina's 2024 Small Business of the Year. Ms. Kathy Scott, Economic Development Director, and also Ronnie Lott, who is the Chair of the Board for Economic Development Commission. Okay.
And we just put Halifax County on the map this past year.
No question with it.
Destination of the year,
Yeah.
Small Business of the Year. And it's great to honor the individuals in this community who are contributing so much. And so, on behalf of the Halifax County Economic Development Commission, we are so pleased to recognize Weldon Mills Distillery for your outstanding achievement in being named the 2024 Small Business of the Year by Business North Carolina Magazine. This accolade is a tremendous testament to your vision and the hard work and dedication involved in building a globally recognized brand right on the banks of the Roanoke River. So on behalf of the Economic Development Commission, we are pleased to present this plaque to Weldon Mills Distillery. And the Economic Development Commission was the entity that nominated Weldon Mills for this prestigious nomination. So we're really excited
All right.
that you won. There we go. And we definitely want, Mr. Chairman, could you come down?
We're going to, what we're going to do, Ms. Scott, after Mr. Lott reads that and all, and we're going to enter that into the minutes just like we did last. Then we're going to move that out of the way and we're going to take a picture.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, we'll wait till two pictures.
Okay.
Present to the Weldon Mills Distillery for recognition as the 2024 Small Business of the Year in North Carolina Magazine. Your remarkable vision, spirit, and dedication thriving and transforming a historical location in a thriving distillery that brings destination and provides to Halifax County this prestigious recognition highlights your significant contributions to our local economy and tourism and community development. The Halifax County Economic Development is proud to have nominated Weldon Mills Distillery for this well-deserved honor to celebrate your continued success and positive impact on Halifax County. Presented by the Halifax County Economic Development Commission, February 3rd, 2025, to those honor and celebrate your continued success and positive impact on Halifax County.
And if I could, Tyler, co-owners of Weldon Mills Distillery.
Okay, in remarks?
Sure. I'll talk. Michael doesn't like to talk much. I just wanted to say, when we started this, we needed a lot of help. We didn't know what we were doing. I was a retired Army, and we knew we liked to drink booze, but we didn't know how to make it, sell it, or run a booze business. And Kathy Scott, Lori Medlin, this body here, the Weldon Commissioners, everybody came together to kind of help us out and help us get to where we are. We're right now currently number 2 in retail sales for North Carolina distilleries in the state. Number 1 was well established long before we ever came along, but we're chasing them down. We now have 40 employees, maybe 41 as of yesterday. I think we hired some yesterday. But we're working hard to turn this into a success and to create something that Halifax County can be proud of, like the Bird Park. I mean, that thing's just phenomenal. But we're working at it, but working together works. It takes a team effort. It takes a team effort from the county commissioners, from the town commissioners, from tourism, from economic development, and we're just happy to have good partners here in Halifax, because we couldn't have done this in any other location. I truly believe that, and everybody's come behind us. The town, the county has rallied behind us. We've got a lot more things coming. As you guys can see, there's some activity out there at the theater. We're going to do some more stuff later on. But hopefully we won't let everybody down. We'll continue to fight hard and stay in the fight and do well. But thank you all for your support. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate you. We appreciate this award. And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay. All right, just before we take the picture, I want, Commissioners, I'm going to do the same thing. Just want to get this into the record. This is a tremendous high recognition, 2024 North Carolina Small Business of the Year. Can I get a motion?
I move to accept the resolution.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Webb. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now, at this time, I'm going to ask the commissioners and clerk and county manager, come on out. And also, Ms. Scott and Bruce and Michael.
And Nancy Sandoval here.
Nancy Sandoval, come on over here.
Tall guys in the back.
Yeah, come on.
Paul, I'll get my hands on mine.
No, get behind it, right?
Yeah, we're for you. 3, 2, 1.
All right, a couple of shots here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and one more. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Lance, your turn.
Richie, okay? Okay. I do want to say to Bruce and Michael, and of course, just so you all know, Bruce is also one of the owners for the Weldon Mills Theater as well. So, but, here again, this is personal. My family can't come home unless they go by the distillery. And matter of fact, my wife had to go down there not long ago, and she bought quite a bit for some relatives. And but this is another thing. If you partake, of that, certainly support them. If you don't partake and you have relatives who do, encourage them to do the same. And it's just another hidden jewel in Halifax County that's missing a lot of times. But to both of these groups, the Bird Park as well as to the distillery, just you know, I can't sing your praises high enough. You know, y'all are two of the greatest in Halifax County, no question about that. Even before you were recognized today, you know, we all thought that, but today just kind of solidifies it. And thank you so much for being here, and keep up the good work, and I'm sure you're going to move those two entities to even greater things, and thanks again. And let's give them another hand. Okay, we will move to item C on the agenda, retirement resolution, Virginia S. Phipps with the library system. I do see her boss here too. Yeah, okay. And we're going to ask Commissioner Sandra Webb to come up and do the honors.
How you doing?
Hi.
All right. Ready to talk? No, I do talk. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
We are so excited to present this resolution to you. And thank you for your dedicated service to our county. Resolution, whereas Virginia S. Phipps decided to retire as a library associate with the Halifax County Library System, effective January 31st of the year 2025. And whereas she has spent 9 years with local government, Virginia has also served in many positions of honor in the community and state, as well as being a dedicated public servant to the citizens of Halifax County. Now therefore, be it resolved that on this day, Monday, February 3rd of the year 2025, the Halifax County Board of Commissioners be in honor of Virginia S. Phipps with formal adoption of the resolution to be recorded in the minutes of the meeting of this day. Signed, Brother J. Brown, Chairman, Halifax County Board of Commissioners, Andre and Wiggins, clerk to the board. Ask for approval of this resolution.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Webb. Is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. At this time, we'll hear any comments from you, Ms. Phipps, if you like. And also, I'll ask Ms. Faithful, will you please come up, and I know you got something to say about this great employee. You're sort of like Bruce. You never lost for words. Come on up, yeah. And also, too, speak under the mic, and I would tell my commissioners when you're talking, make sure you turn your mics on, because I've gotten that they having problems hearing us a little bit. But kind of get close to the mic there. Go ahead. Ms. Phipps, we'll hear from you first, and then we'll hear from Ms. Faithful.
Well, it's kind of bittersweet. I have enjoyed working with the library. I must say, they are like family to me. They have been wonderful to me. It's been a wonderful experience. And I am going to really, really miss them. I'm so proud to work with Brenda. She is just a phenomenal director. She has really inspired us to branch out and to go for bigger and better things. So it's kind of hard to leave on. I'm really going to say that. But I am looking forward to retirement, so it's been nice.
Well, here I am again for the second time, and I don't want to come back next month, so no one else is retiring. We're going to keep what we have now.
Yes.
Ginger started out with us part-time, and she worked at all 5 locations, so she was able to bless all the citizens throughout Halifax County. We appreciate that. She found her full-time home in Scotland Neck, which used to be my baby, and she has done so much in that community for that library system, that library itself, and the system as a whole. Her talent, her genius, her compassion is beyond anything that I've seen, and I appreciate that so much. We are going to miss her, but as you start this new chapter in your life, y'all get that? We want you to know that we're always with you. You're always family. You're not part of the staff, but you're still part of our family. And we'll always be here for you. We love you. And no more.
You want to? Let's give her another big hand. You know, we have great departments in this county, but, I don't know anyone any better than the library system. They're tremendous. They work together as a team, and Brenda provides good leadership to that team, and they're just unbelievable. They really are, and they have proven that. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you all being here. Now we're on the public comment, which is item 3 on your agenda. Just before I call the ones who have signed up to speak, I'm going to read a statement, and I'm going to read it one time, and I would ask that you comply with my statement. And again, commissioners, I've told you this one time, but just be reminded when you speak into the mics and make sure they're turned on, please. And folks who go into the podium to speak, make sure they try to speak as best as you can to that mic. Okay. As required by the General Statute 153A-52.1, the Halifax County Board of Commissioners provide a public comment period once a month as an item of business on its regular meeting agenda. Now is scheduled time for the public comment period. When I call your name, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and begin speaking. You'll be given 3 minutes, and I repeat, 3 minutes to address the board. If you have documents that you want to give the board, please hand those out before going to the podium. I will not be going over the rules of the public comment period because they were posted by the door at the room. By signing up to speak, you have acknowledged that you are familiar with the rules and that you will abide by them. We will do our best to hear from everyone who signed up to speak. But if we are unable to accommodate everyone in the allotted time, you will be invited to speak during our next public comment period, at which time you'll be given priority without having to sign up again. We appreciate your interest in Halifax County government, and we look forward to hearing from you. At this time, I'm going to invite the first speaker up. I had given instructions earlier about the number of people that have signed up, which is 10, and I have told you that we're only going to allow 5 at the max to speak, and if you can consolidate that, please do so. And if you cannot speak today, just like I said earlier, you'll be put on the next agenda to speak. Okay, at this time, the first one I have, Mr. Reggie Bynum. And if you're representing other folks who have signed up to speak, make sure that that's known so I can check their name off as well. And they also can be acknowledged. Mr. Bynum.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
First of all, thank you all for allowing me to speak today. Thank you, Commissioners, officials, for the great work that you guys do for the county. Really appreciate what you guys do for continue working. I just want to speak to the Center for Education. My name is James Rachel Bynum. I'm a product of Halifax, North Carolina, as a lot of y'all know, born and raised right down the street here from the courthouse. The Center for Education was a godsend for me because I've been in corporate since I was 19 years old, very successful, which is a blessing, but I've always wanted to come back to be able to give back to my community, to help our county with economic development in a space that I feel is always kind of forgotten in our county. As we all know, we're a Tier 1 county. I don't have to repeat that. We all talk about that outside of this. But with the Tier 1 county, there are specific needs that I think that we're all looking at achieving. If you look at the fact we're also a Tier 1 county, the population has decreased every year for the past 10 years, just like Northampton County. And I know that is a problem that we all have, but it's something that we're looking at fixing. But if we look at the current declination rate, in 15 years, our county will be at 40,000. And that's concerning, I think, not just for me, but for us all. In our current Tier 1 status and the things that I named, we have a lack of vocational programs in our school system. We all know that. The vocational programs I had when I graduated Weldon High School in 1994, we no longer have. 25% of our kids are going to college. 1/4 of our kids are going to college. 1/4 of our kids are going to college. And with the lack of vocational programs, and the gap that that creates between someone coming out that's 18 years old that's looking to go into the workforce with the lack of development and talent development that we have in this area, it's creating our population to decrease. And Brady, how do you know this? Because I speak to these kids every single day. A lot of y'all see me in the community. You see me out in the community. I am in the community, fully entrenched to talk to these young men and women who are in the need of finding jobs. There are workers there. A large population of our workers in that young adult age group, which also 80% of them are also on Medicaid in our county, which is a huge issue. But they're making $12 to $15 per hour. So how does the center fit into this? We have filled a gap that is needed in our county. There is a gap. And we want to deny that, and I think that we're being oblivious to it. There's a major gap that we have in our kids, and I'm passionate about it because these are my family, and this is my community. So yes, I want to be very passionate about it, probably more so than people that aren't from my community, which is okay, right? But I want to speak on behalf of that and the need that we have there, from the just to serve the individuals that we have in our community that don't have job opportunities that the center provides for us. And you'll hear more about that today. So my closing, it is, and again, I won't take the 3 minutes, but in my closing is that there is a gap that is needed. Economic development is created by the people. Thank you very much. That's my time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Banham.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Lisa Oliver.
I will be speaking first.
Now, what is your name? Okay, all right.
Greetings, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Ayana Hamilton Wallace. I currently serve as the Regional Director at the Center for Energy Education. And I would like to start off by saying that the values of any organization can be summed up in the impact that it has on the quality of life, the people, and the economy of those that it serves. In 2024, C4EE impacted Halifax County. 250 plus students were served in renewable energy camp. 365 students attended Solar Fest. 240 students, high school students, participated in the Clean Energy Career Fair, and 11 scholarships were awarded to Radiant Rays for internships. As it pertains to the workforce, 110 Roanoke Valley residents, veterans, and justice-involved persons trained in solar installation, OSHA 10 and OSHA 30, many of whom are here today. Would you please stand? Including our instructor. Thank you so very much. Additionally, C4EE impacted leadership. 204 leaders, governmental leaders were trained, governmental officers were trained in our workshops that are offered not only here in North Carolina, but as well as Indiana. Our community outreach, 200 individuals attended our Thriving Communities convening. 40 plus attended the 2024 election town hall. 900 attended Soul Fest. It was awesome. Additionally, C4EE makes an effort to use local businesses for goods as well as services, impacting the local economy. C4EE has been recognized on a state platform. In 2024, we received a partnership award in science, mathematics, and technology education, as well as the 2024 Clean Energy Tech Award. We were featured in Energy News Network, how one nonprofit is working to build support for solar. Guess what, guys? C4EE has made a difference in Halifax County. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wallace. Okay, just for the record, Dr. Wallace, give us, we know that you work at the center, but tell us your home address, please.
Oh, sure. My home address, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay, all right,
I haven't relocated here yet. Got a job for my husband. I'll come.
okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bynum? I don't know if we have your address or not, but tell us your home address.
Yes, sir. I'm probably Halifax, but 1392 East Old Springport Road, Nashville, North Carolina.
Okay, thank you, sir.
We also have property in North Carolina.
Okay. All right, the next person we have speaking, and you all may have given that earlier.
Consolidated, I did mention who I was speaking for. I was speaking for Lisa Alger,
Uh-huh,
Christy Gibson,
uh-huh,
Whitney Sessoms,
okay,
and Lozine Love.
okay, thank you,
Thank you.
appreciate that. Okay, Commissioner Angela Hopper.
Good morning.
Good morning. And state your name, Ms. Harper, and
My name is Angela Harper.
Address.
219 Howard Street.
Okay.
North Carolina.
thank you.
I'm here as a commissioner of Enfield to represent the citizens of Enfield. Center for Energy has been a blessing to Enfield. Every third Thursday of the month, they come down there, they have a meeting with the town of Enfield to help us try to find energy, find ways to lower our electric. We also have a house now for them to house in Enfield where they can help with renovations of houses. And Enfield, they have just been a blessing. Enfield is their heart. We can tell that. And I'm asking the commission, the county commissioners to do things that y'all can do for them and also for the town of Enfield. We need to see y'all more in Enfield and help us do something for Enfield. Grants and stuff, not too many grants we do. This Center for Energy, our grants for us, reaching out to people, finding people to help us to do things that not gonna cost us a lot of money. So that's my presentation, and I just ask the board to please start, come to Enfield and see what we really need in Enfield, and we love y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harper. Okay, the next one on the list is Dr. McLean. And if I mispronounce your name, please excuse me.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
I am Dr. Lamar McLean, where I with Halifax High School, where I serve as Executive Director of Secondary Education, and under my umbrella, FOSS, Career Technical Education. And I bring you greetings also on behalf of our Superintendent, Dr. Eric Cunningham.
Okay, give us your address, home address.
Home address 29 Elizabeth Lane, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. While I may not be a resident of Halifax County, I have been an educator in Halifax County for over 24 years.
Okay.
So my heart is here from 85. But in our partnership with the Center for Energy Education has really been beneficial for our students. Our students are participating in the various events at the center, the Solar Fest, the Career Fair. They're learning about clean energy, energy solar vehicles, and our students are reaping the rewards and seeing an extension of what we are able to provide for them within the building. They're able to get hands-on opportunities, hands-on learning, to actually talk to different professionals and spark that interest for careers they may have not thought of before. Our students have served as Radiant Rays. They've had opportunity to visit not only our state capital, but our national capital. And our students are working in the office, so they're getting that work-based learning experience. They're also benefiting from scholarships offered from the center. So we wholeheartedly support the Center for Energy Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McLean. Okay, Ms. Jenny Lewis.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Jenny Lewis. I live at 106 Midway Lane, Vernon Rapids, North Carolina. I serve currently as the president of the Roanoke Valley Chamber of Commerce. And we have the pleasure of partnering with the Center for Energy Education, which we utilize quite a bit with our Pathways program that we offer through our business education partnership with the Chamber. We're one of the few that offers that program. And through that, we are able to take students to get one-on-one learning experience, that hands-on experience, and seeing what solar is all about, but also learning how to make a livable wage in working in the solar fields. And if you'll notice, we have quite a few businesses that are coming to the area to do just that, set up solar. So with the Chamber, we are firm believers that if we have a business that's established here, we are going to do everything that we can to help them grow. We don't want to see doors closed. We would like to see more opportunities available for what we have here already and what we can do to grow what we have here. So please take into consideration when you're thinking of closing down an opportunity that has been here, established. I have to say, I was very fortunate that I think I signed some of the documents, first documents, when that building was being established. I was a notary at the time. So, yeah, just seeing it grow from absolutely nothing to what they're able to offer today has been great, and I enjoy our partnership in that. So thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lewis. All right, now that was actually the fifth one, and we have one more. Scott Jordan, you can come and speak. We're going to do 6, but really I'm supposed to do 5, but we're going to hear from you, okay? 3 minutes.
So let me come speak before you today. My name is Scott Jordan, one of 5 Ashbury Court, Halifax, North Carolina. I was born and raised here in Halifax County, and I've been working with the Center for Education for a number of months now, teaching the 10-hour construction industry, OSHA training that is required when you do solar panel installation. Also, I teach 30-hour construction industry training, as well as 10 and 30-hour general industry. I would just like to say that this is another hidden gem in Halifax County, and that I didn't even know it existed because they called me one day asking me to come and become a partner with them teaching safety. And when you teach a 10-hour construction industry to the people that are interested in solar installation, and what it does is give them the insight into the first ground level of safety, some of which people have never had. And so that's very important to continue that. And I would just like to say I appreciate you allowing me to speak before you today. And I'd also like to say that they're doing great work at the Center of Energy Education. I didn't even, like I said, I didn't even know it existed until they contacted me. And ever since, I've been in partnership with them, and I think it's a worthy project. Somebody had a visionary to see that solar panel energy was going to be part of the future to come. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir, and I thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this time, we're going to move away from public comment, and we're going to move to the agenda items on your agenda. Approval of the sole source bid for lead-based paint, asbestos, and radon services for CDBG in our Lincoln Heights project. Mr. Mike Scott, who is the president of Progressive Resources Incorporated. Good morning.
Mr. Chairman. Good
Yes,
morning.
sir.
I'll be quick. Mr. Chairman, you all have a memo that was prepared summarizing the procurement activities that have taken place for the CDBG, the Lincoln Heights CDBG project. You also should have a copy of the letter from the North Carolina Department of Commerce that approved the procurement steps that we have taken to conduct lead-based paint, asbestos, and radon testing for two of the houses that we're going to be treating in Lincoln Heights. And today, I would just like to, we're asking for the board's approval of this procurement process and approval of the proposal that's been presented by the asbestos firm for this project.
Okay, you've heard the presentation from Mr. Scott, and his specific request is that we approve the sole source contract recommendation for lead-based paint, asbestos, and radon service for the CDBG NR Lincoln Heights project. Given the questions or comments of, okay,
Quick question.
Vice Chair Davis.
Our documents that we've gotten talks about just the testing. Is this approval for just the testing?
Yes, ma'am.
And does this amount include if there is asbestos found or lead? Does that include the removal process as well?
It does not include abatement. Because the abatement services will actually be provided by the contractor that does the work on the house. And so that would be included in their contract. This just includes, it includes the assessment and testing on the front end, but it also includes the testing, what we call clearance testing of the packing.
Okay.
To make sure it's all been, that anything that was found has been cleared and the property is clear of any of these chemicals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question, Commissioner Davis. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Commissioner Civil.
You saying it testing, so you were tested prior to the house being abated, so you will come back after that process and verify it was clean?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
properly. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? If there are no further questions or comments, and if it's your pleasure, I would like to have a motion for the approval of the request.
I move for approval of the sole source contract recommendation for the lead-based paint.
Motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, now we're going to have the report of the 2024 property tax liens and requests to advertise. Ms. Hawkins, Doris Hawkins.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I come before you this morning to report to you the number of outstanding real property liens as of January 31st, as required by North Carolina General Statute 105-369A. We're reporting that as of that day, we have 6,977 real property bills which are still unpaid. And for a total on that across all principal taxes and the solid waste fees that are billed on our property tax bills, that comes to $4,072,161.60. I would like to point out that that is exactly 100 liens less than last year. However, the dollar amount is higher, and that is due to the fact that we had the 2024 revaluation, and on average, property tax bills did go up across the board. And just as some additional information, this statute also requires that I mail out what's called pre-advertising letters. My plan for that is to do that in mid-March, and that is just notifying all of those delinquent property owners that we will be advertising those liens in the Daily Herald. And as regarding to that, my plan to do that advertising is in the week of April 14th. And that's very important because we do quite a few interim foreclosure actions once we reach that point, and we cannot do that in those actions until we complete that statutorily required advertisement in the newspaper. So you will find in your agenda packet that there is a resolution there ordering the advertising of delinquent real property tax liens, and that's pursuant to General Statute 105-369A. So I come for you today asking for that order.
Okay, you heard the information coming from Ms. Hawkins. Any questions or comments? If not, I need a motion for your, okay,
I do have
Commissioner
one question,
Vice
just
Chair
for
Davis.
clarification.
Go ahead.
The amount listed in our agenda, the $12,000, is that just for the advertisement
Yes,
cost?
ma'am, that's an estimated cost
Estimated.
based on findings.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, what is your pleasure in regard to the resolution?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Webb, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ms. Hawkins, thank you and your staff. Appreciate all that you do.
Thank you. If you don't mind, I'd like to take just a few seconds to give you a short update on how our collections are looking.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Yes, sir. I mailed out 8,173 second notices the middle of January, as I do every year. That number was also slightly down. We did an additional mailing in November of friendly reminder postcards, just trying to encourage people to pay before delinquency occurred. As of Friday, January 31st, we're at a little, 94% of collections, which is what we had last year. I'm very pleased with that. But the hard work begins now as we're trying to collect that remaining 4.5%, which will get us to a goal of 98.5% collections by June 30th. So I would like to encourage our taxpayers and our media who are here today to please go ahead and call or come by our office immediately, because I'm going to be leaving as soon as I finish talking, going back across the street, because we begin enforced collections today. And we would prefer not to do that, but I need taxpayers to reach out to us and either pay in full or enter into a formal payment agreement with me or my staff in order to prevent that interest collection.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hawkins. Hold on for a second. Ms. Denton?
I wanted to point out that this is very important work that the tax department does. This is a direct impact on the county's budget. And so we've been in very deep conversations the last few weeks between finance and tax about our revenue estimates for our upcoming 25-26 budget. So the fact that they're ahead of their rate estimates is very good for your budget. And we're looking at a 98% collection rate to budget with. So that's by law what you can only budget to is your collection rate. So that is important. The tax department does excellent work that directly impacts your budget.
Thank you, Ms. Denton. That's a good teaching tool there. Appreciate that. All right, anything else?
Sir, I just thank you all for your support.
Okay.
Mr. Bryant,
Yes, sir. Commissioner
while we
Silver.
got the media here, could you explain the enforcement you said is going to take place? I think some people out in rural communities like mine don't understand that.
Yes, sir. North Carolina General Statutes afford the tax collector several different collection tools, as I call them in my tool belt, which begin with wage garnishments. We contact employers, and we can collect from them up to 10% of their gross salary in order to pay their delinquent taxes. We move on to bank accounts as soon as we finish that. And that means that that's not 10%. If we're looking to collect, say, $2,000, and you have $2,001 in your bank account, then the bank is obligated to spend those funds for those collections. And then, of course, we can debt set off with the state of North Carolina, and we can submit an attachment for lottery winnings or state income tax refunds, among other things. And we also have what we call civil executions, which sounds horrendous. I really wish it wasn't that name, which is levy and sale for our sheriff's department, where our deputy can go out and seize personal property and sold in order to pay the delinquent taxes. So we do have several different options. I prefer not to go to those steps, which is why I urge you to please reach out to us.
Thank you for explaining that, Ms. Hawkins. Thank you.
Okay, good question, Commissioner Silver. All right, next item, we're on item C, Attorney Rollins. I did let everyone know that you had a call down to the courthouse.
So y'all started with that one.
Yes, sir. So that, well, I don't say we can make it without you because we can't. But anyway, item C.
I need it for 4 committees.
By the way, why y'all dressed like over there today?
Yeah.
Y'all look nice.
I have an HCC connection.
Okay, gotcha. That's pretty good. Item C, Emergency Management Performance Grant. We heard from Buddy Wren, our Deputy Emergency Services Director. He was all right on his way up.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning, buddy.
I'll be brief. So this is, well, actually, you may be the only one that's seen this grant before. It's our yearly emergency performance grant. It's offered, it's a federal grant that comes down through the state emergency management. I did attach the grant application And the match is basically in kind, which is my salary and fringe. This number, the budget total is variable. They cut that total last year, and it may be cut again this year. So what I did for this grant is put the actual maximum allotment that we've seen in previous years. So we'll have a good idea of what the money may be coming down once the grant is finalized. What I'm asking today is basically permission to submit this and to the state, and we'll move forward from there. If you don't have any questions.
And the county cost is $41,000 in kind, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments of commissioners? If not, can I get a motion for the approved submission of the EMPG grant application, the receipt of refunds if awarded, and authorize the appropriate staff to execute the documents? Okay, Commissioner Byers, is there a second? Okay, I tell you what, you guys work together, don't you? Second by Commissioner Redden. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, thank you, appreciate you. Yes, sir, thank you, appreciate all that you do, buddy. Item D is the 4-H Rural Life Center fee adjustment request. We'll hear from our finance director, Ms. Duncan. Morning. Morning.
Dark, dismal January is gone, and now let's get us through February. Okay, I come before you today requesting a fee schedule adjustment for the 4-H Rural Life camp fees. Fee has been $55 since 2010, and we're requesting a $10 a week increase to $65 for the upcoming camp. Everything that's going on, the $10 will help a little bit with everything authorized. That is my request for you today.
Okay, it's a wonderful program. Okay. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Commissioner Barrett.
So how much money you anticipate this raising?
So
The extra $10?
the extra 10, they have generally 40 to 50 kids per week, and there's an 8-week class. So it would enable them to do, and if they get great lunches, I mean, I don't actually go out and pay a lunch for the out there instead of bringing their own from home. But the activities that we get is quite, and then field trips that they go on, and the classes. My kids went, and I'm a very big supporter of this program.
Yeah. Okay, Commissioner Red and then Ms. Denton. Go ahead.
We've run a summer camp in Tillery
Mhm.
for many years, and many youth and their parents have struggled to pay even minimal fees. So we'll be able to create maybe a scholarship program to help offset some of the amount if some of the parents can't pay that 50 or the extra 10.
Okay. You know, Ms. Denton is going to make a comment about something, but she can also address that during her comments too. Ms. Denton.
That's a great question, Commissioner Redding. I'm sorry that Beth Birchall's not here today. This was initially on your January 21st agenda, which of course was canceled due to the inclement weather. Just to add to what Ms. Duncan said, the 55 and potentially 65 does pay for all the supplies, materials, and they do have lunch there every day. So once you're there, it costs nothing. You don't have to bring anything with you to include field trips. It is a 4-H state-approved curriculum. So this is a very structured, organized program. We bring in people from even Sylvan Heights and Wildlife and Museum of Natural Sciences, that kind of thing. Great question about scholarships. I think we have discussed that before. It's certainly something we can take back to that department and possibly bring back to you all if we have a need for funding. They've also implemented sort of on a phased-in approach to provide transportation as well. That's been a major issue for some campers, and so they've tried that the last few years. We did get a new bus 2 years ago, And so this has been a tremendous asset to be able to go pick up campers that would not be otherwise able to attend. We can certainly take that back and see what kind of funding could be appropriated for a certain amount of scholarships. I would defer to the department on that and just see what they have to say, but we could certainly study that.
Commissioner, I think that's a good idea for her to do that, for the manager to go and look at that. Yes, sir. Commissioner Barrett.
I will even go a step further. I would love to see if the county, if we can't find $4,000 in our budget somewhere to offset this cost so we don't have to charge any of these parents $10 extra.
Okay.
I mean, I know budgets are tight, but, I mean, this is a quality service we provide to kids and I mean, there's probably $4,000 we're going to waste on something that we probably, nobody's going to benefit from, and if we can find that and apply it to this, then we can.
I tell you what, I don't know what Ms. Denton's remarks is going to be, but I think she can take that under advisement and talking with, departmental heads about that as well.
If you would like to leave it at 55 this year, that's totally fine. We will find it and make it work. We may have some more information for you about that during the budget season. The reason we needed to know now is so that they can advertise the camps. They're ready. They typically advertise in February. So if you want to leave it at 55, we're happy to leave it at 55. I think it's the best deal in town. My child has gone there since he was 6. He's now a camp counselor. It's like a rite of passage for kids that live here. But I think we can find it if we want to go that route.
Well,
If you don't take any action, we would just.
Yes, I'm hearing two different things. I'm hearing leave it like it is, and then I'm hearing, taking action. So you all want to leave it like it is, or what do you want to do? You want to move it up to the 65? It's whatever you all decide. I'm okay.
I also, if I can say this.
Yes, sir.
Is to try to do some outreach, just in case we are reaching kids in Hopgood, Hollister, those parts of our county that are further out.
Right.
To see if we can get some of those kids to be a part of the camp and have the opportunity to possibly be counselors as well, so they don't feel neglected.
Right.
To answer your question, Mr. Chairman, I'm all for leaving it at 55 for this year.
Okay.
If that's what you're trying to get a consensus of.
Right. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
A head nod.
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Silver.
Just like Commissioner Redden, I would like to see that bus be utilized to serve some kids outside of this immediate area here.
Okay. I'm sure that can be explored as well. Right. County Manager?
Yes, part of it comes down to being able to staff the bus for a driver to get into the different areas. What they've typically done, I wish Beth was here, she could speak to it better than I could, but they take certain weeks and they target the Scotland Neck, Hopgood area or the Hollister area on certain days of the week. So even if it's a 5-day camp, you could at least get transportation 2 or 3 days, vice versa, for the weeks of camp. So like I said, it's been a slower rollout just to try it out. I think it was very successful, but I'll certainly take that information back to Ms. Burchell.
And I think Ms. Burchell also could educate us on the part about if someone steps up and cannot pay, what happens with that as well. Commissioner Reddy, you had your hand up.
And we also may be able to partner with some churches that have some church bands that might bring kids on the days when we can't get to those areas.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Good point. Anyone else? Any other comment? Good discussion.
And I'll just say that I know, since I've been on the board, I've shared with my community about the hidden gem of the 4-H Center here in Halifax County. Try to encourage collaboration between the Boys and Girls Club that we've had now and some of our other community organizations as well. So I think too, it's just continue to share that information with the community at large. And sometimes you just might have to be that person to do the phone calls and establish the sign-up sheets and all that information as well.
Great discussion, colleagues. So we're going to leave it like it is.
That'll be
Thank
fine.
you. Okay. And I do think Ms. Denton is going to look into some more things as a result of all this discussion.
Yep.
Okay, next item, under item E, Parks and Recreation Trust Fund Grant Project, Turner Rollins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and also this was going to be Virgil's matter as well, and since she had a conflict, I told her I thought I could handle it for her, so I've got backup over on the wall here if I can. The county has received, if you recall, the county has received a Parks and Recreation grant or PARTIF grant from the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources for $421,537 in grant funds to help with the design and construction of a recreation facility at the 4-H Center. This requires a 50% match, and the remaining $421,537 in matching funds will come from capital reserve, which are funds that have already been set aside for this particular project in the capital reserve fund. With that in mind, there are a couple of things we're going to ask you to do, and I'll mention them both, but we'll take them one at a time. But to mention them first is a grant project ordinance that needs to be adopted for the grant funding and the capital reserve matching funds for the project. The other thing we're going to request is that this project is of such a nature and the grant has deadlines for having the project completed. And it's of a nature that we, as staff, believe that using the design-build method of constructing this project will be advantageous rather than going through the process that we would normally go through, which is to hire an architect to design the building, prepare bid documents, put the property out to bid, not know what the bids are going to be. That particular method is good for much larger projects, but here where we've got a grant that requires that we have things done within a certain time frame, and it's not a difficult project. We've got the county staff that's able to see that through, and we would recommend that you consider and adopt the attached resolution authorizing the design-build method of delivery for this particular project. There are 6 criteria mentioned in that resolution. They're each outlined, and then there's a comment in the resolution about the county's ability to meet those criteria. I'll be glad to answer those for you. But first, I would ask you to consider the grant project ordinance, which is in your agenda packet, adopting that, and then we can proceed to the proposed resolution for the design-build method of delivery on this project.
Okay, just as an FYI, Commissioners, on the grant project ordinance is dated January 21st. Of course, you know we didn't meet on that day, so it'll be changed for today's date.
We'll modify that, thank you.
The resolution as well.
Right.
Will be both.
Yep. FYI. Okay, any questions or comments to Attorney Rollins? If not, we need to do two things. Well, we need to do the ordinance first, right now.
I would appreciate acting on the grant project ordinance first.
Okay, all right. What is your pleasure in regards to that?
I move to adopt the grant project ordinance.
Okay, motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Redden, I believe, right? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay, Attorney Rollins, back on you.
The other action requested is adoption of the resolution to use design-build delivery method for the 4-H Rural Life Center Recreation Center.
Okay. All right, any questions or comments? If not, I'll need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Byrd. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner, well, y'all tied up. Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, thank you, Attorney Rollins, on that.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move to item F. We're going to hear from our illustrious Assistant County Manager, Mr. Thomas Barrett. Thomas Everett. Thomas Everett, not Thomas Barrett. Sorry about that.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Everett.
Thank you. Kind of introduction. At this time, we'd like to discuss certain things concerning our detention center. Those things are comparison
of Dublin, Granville, and Pender counties. An overview of the funding source from First Time Advisors. A summary of inmates in other jails, post per fiscal year, and current debt payments. And at the end of the discussion, we would like to request the commissioners provide guidance to county staff on the not to exceed budget for our detention center and choose financial options. If you could follow me on the page that has Mosley Architects at the top.
Okay.
There's 3 pages here, one for each county. And this is the total estimate for the project for each county. And this does not include the law enforcement center. After that, we actually put a snapshot for you.
You said it doesn't include what now? I'm sorry.
Law Enforcement Center.
The law, this doesn't include the laws.
It doesn't include the law.
Law Enforcement Center, okay.
Now, if you look at the page, the graph with the 3 counties on it, in blue and white, you'll see the beds for each jail, the total estimated project, the admin core square footage, and the detention housing square footage. If you look at Dublin and Pender County, you'll see the price difference there. And the reason for that price difference is the square footage. And if you can turn to the next page, you'll actually see the inmates in other jails and how much we actually spend on them. All the way from fiscal year 2020, all the way to our current year of 25. At current, we're at $196,255.98. Our highest year was fiscal year 2020. You will see from 2020 all the way up to down, that price is high. And underneath that sector, you'll see the debt that we have now from 3 sectors. And under that, you'll see the total debt payments by physical year.
I have a question for you. The amount being spent, I guess, for fiscal year 2024, I see approximately $745,000. What does that actually include?
That includes the housing of inmates that we have an overflow here at our.
So,
Just a house.
just the housing only. So that does not include man-hours, transportation to and from these facilities, correct? And it doesn't also include maintenance on vehicles, upkeep, fuel costs, any of those. And also it does not include if there's overtime paid for our detention officers to make these trips. It doesn't include that item. And not trying to throw something at you, but if you could, I guess, speculate, okay, in addition to the $745,000 that we paid 2024, what would be the cost?
That's a great question. Looking at the actual cost here, it can range.
Okay.
The prices are going up on the housing of the units there. And also gas prices. Okay. The time that we actually pay overtime. Depending on how far we have to take. We can't just go down the street and say, hey, you're taking the hedge on the house. We have to go as far as the west of the King Street just to take some of these inmates here. So that price can actually vary.
And just for example, you may not be aware, but I think about 2 weeks ago, the heat in the jail went out. And I think approximately 30 individuals had to be immediately transferred to another facility. Some of these individuals went to Vance County. And that's not including the individuals that we already had out. And I guess I know that you can't give me an exact number, but I know that $745,000 is only housing. But that's a whole lot more money out there that we're losing because of these individuals being housed in other facilities.
Let's hear from Ms. Denton on that
Okay.
too, for a second.
Okay.
I can address that. The number you see here is for just housing.
Okay.
The reason we did not include the staffing costs, the other wear and tear on vehicles, that kind of thing, is you're likely going to need those positions as you open up a new jail.
Okay.
When you have more inmates, we won't need the number of extra staff we were expecting with a renovation that we were looking at about 10 years ago.
Okay.
But I would consider that a wash.
Okay.
Because you're going to need those positions, maybe in a different capacity, ideally in a different capacity, not to transport,
Okay.
but to be detention officers who are stationed in the detention facility.
Okay.
Now, we are aware that the heat went out. We are aware that there are maintenance issues there on the daily.
Okay.
This number will likely increase as we're trying to keep our numbers down.
Okay.
So this is just a fairly conservative estimate. Of course, we're only halfway through
All right.
this fiscal year. So 25, that's a reason that number is low, is because you're only halfway through the fiscal year.
Okay.
So we did not take that into account.
Okay.
Okay. So if you would focus on what we're paying for inmates in other jails, and then what you're looking at in debt payments that we will retire in fiscal year 26-27. What we're looking for today is for you all to give us a not-to-exceed budget. And I don't want to get too wrapped up in how many inmates that will be,
Okay.
because the budget may dictate
Okay.
how many inmates. It will still be a significant increase to what we have.
Great, thank
These
you.
are just some examples to show you
Okay.
total project costs of near counties, like counties, similar numbers of inmates that they would house, and the amount of funds that were spent.
Okay.
In addition to that, we wanted you to look at the different financing options. We gave you 3. In the past few weeks, we've actually had some additional discussions internally and with one of our options that I'm happy to speak to if you would like to hear about that, to give you a little bit better idea of what you could be looking at as far as what your debt payments might be and what that might cost the county.
Ms. Denton, go ahead and speak to one of your options while you're talking.
Okay, and Mary, can you come up and help me? I'm going to talk about USDA funding.
Wait a minute, excuse me a second. Had you finished?
Yes, I'm done.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
all right, I'm sorry. All right,
Okay.
go ahead. All right.
So, in your agenda materials, you have the 3 different financing options: the limited obligation bonds, basically your private financing, and then USDA. When you look at USDA, initially, that is a longer term at 30 years. It is a lower interest rate, but you pay more over time because you've extended your payments. Mary had a visit from one of our reps from USDA about 2 weeks ago, and we learned that if you choose to do the USDA route, there's no prepayment penalty.
Okay.
And so what we were thinking is, if you would like to explore that option, you could get the lower interest rate, but pay more than what those payments look like, so that you get the lower interest rate, and then you all can decide how much more, if any, you would pay over that annual debt payment to ultimately save over the project's life funding that the county would pay for borrowing the money. Is there anything that you would like to clarify that I could have said better?
As you can see, the financing cost is less on USDA when you do a block or do a private placement.
Not to
So
exceed.
what you can save on the
Finance.
upfront expenditures, it allows you to
Not
play
to
it
exceed
with
the
the
cost of this, but not to exceed 50 million.
I was quite pleased with the visit that day when she was here. There isn't that prepayment penalty. That really take advantage of that.
Mhm.
And it'll almost negate itself.
So that's what staff is leaning towards at
Okay.
this point. After learning that, I'm glad we were able to have those conversations. That is the financing option we would recommend, if that's something you'd like to consider.
Okay, all right, we can think about that. Do you have okay, Ms. Davis?
In the light of our current climate with federal fundings, do you see anything happen that can derail?
You know, that's a great question. As you know, we spent last week trying to figure out how that impacts us here in the county. I think it's too early to tell. I think that's a valid concern. It's certainly something we can reach out to our USDA contacts and explore. But if that's not an option, then we can certainly go back to looking at, I guess our second choice would be the limited obligation bonds, also known as LOBs.
So-
But that, great question. I think, I don't know any more than you do at this point. We're just kind of watching the news come down, and I think I just saw another news alert come down. So it changes daily.
Okay, we'll hear from Commissioner Silver, then Commissioner Reddy.
Mr. Chairman, I noticed looking at these figures, from 23 to 24, we had increased about $180,000. Do you know what led to that increase, that much spending?
That cost could vary also, Commissioner, great question.
Yeah, because,
Depends on how many inmates we have at that time.
yeah, because, and if you looked at that projection path, how the money's going, we're roughly gonna be at $1 million if we continue that this year. And so I'm just thinking with payments, and you can tell me I'm wrong thinking, what we're paying outside is gonna be a big chunk of paying for that jail witness.
Yeah.
And, second thing, the concern is, though, she talked about escalating prices, as we know, not putting that cart before the horse, but the tariffs are increasing, that could be yeah, on the steel, that's
another good point. Okay, you finished, Commissioner Silver?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Reddy?
Do these figures take into account one of my points that I want to advocate for? Because three of us are coming to this discussion after you all have already started it, but a multi-service day reporting center that would help with housing assistance, educational assistance, job placement assistance, because Attorney Webb and I can tell you all that many of these people in DUI court, criminal court, other courts, a lot of them are constantly, it's like a revolving door, they're coming in and out. And some of them are walking from the courthouse back to Roanoke Rapids or Enfield or wherever they're trying to get to. So do these figures take into account the possibility of adding those services so we don't have the recidivism rate that we have currently?
I think that would be in addition to what the numbers are that we would house. That would be a service that we would provide.
Well, let me clarify. Do you mean adding those services or adding space for those services to be
Adding
housed?
space and those services.
Because whether we can do those services is a totally separate conversation we would have to have.
We have discussed having a wing, particularly for the population that comes in that appear to be having mental illness crises. That is a pattern that we see. So we have discussed a particular section just for those inmates that probably should be patients and not inmates, and what we can provide. We do have other pots of funding that we're working on to assist those particular inmates and the services that we can provide.
I think if I may add, I think when we made the motion and approved the construction, it was for construction only.
Right.
Yes.
My concern is after it's built, then it's too late to possibly add that space.
I
But
think-
then we would have to reopen.
I think that during the construction phase, however we determine with the architect, we will be able to look at that during that time to see what we'd like to need inside the building.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Attorney Rollins.
No, I was going to say, for the capital project itself, you can work that into the design, and that's all going to factor into what ultimately the cost is going to be. but yes, that's a design question that the architect would want to address with us as we're going into those preliminary designs and then your actual designs. And it's fair to have that discussion about space and design and function now before
That's right.
you start laying brick and then decide, oh, we should have done that.
That's right.
I agree.
It's great discussion. Okay, anything else? You have anything else to?
Mr. Chairman, I got-
I'm sorry,
So-
Commissioner Barrett.
I know we won't go necessarily talk about the number of inmates, but, I mean, I think before I can do good come up with a number, I need to know what our average population is, because, once again, if I'm thinking I'm gonna save that $7 million in Mississippi, we're gonna be spending for too much longer, and then I build a jail that I still gotta ship out 20 or 30 inmates, that's kind of taking money out of my pocket to pay for it.
I could tell you that we average, I'm not going to say average, there are times that the numbers are about 190. Then there are times it may be 115. That's the best answer I can give you.
It varies significantly. I think we're going to look somewhere between 200 and 250 beds, depending on what the budget allows us to budget for. We're averaging just under 200, I would say. That's a safe number. But I know Mr. Everett gets the jail population numbers from the sheriff every Monday. And of course, that varies, in and out, that kind of thing. I don't know if you have an average that you've seen in the past couple of months.
Average is about 180.
Okay.
Last
Yes.
week,
In other counties. In other counties. It's including other counties.
And these numbers you provided us that are from like Pender County and all this, are these jails that are under construction or jails that have recently been built? Okay, so these numbers are a year old.
They're as recent as we could get.
Right, but they're still
Yes.
a year old.
Some are more than probably,
That's,
more than that.
this is the most recent we were able to get.
Good question and good discussion. Mr. Everett, did you have anything else that you want to add? If not, I got to ask the county managers something here.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. All right, yes, sir.
Just want to make sure me and Barrett understand this correct. If we're looking at building roughly jail 225, somewhere in there, 250.
Yes, sir.
In today's climate, what the county population we're responsible for keeping, they would adequately house everybody that Halifax County Sheriff Department is responsible for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just want to make sure.
But Commissioner Silver, put your other hat on. You've been a law enforcement guy, and I've been a probation officer. And Mr. Barrett was a probation officer too. So, a lot of times when you build these places, you know what happens. Law enforcement, probation officers, judges, district attorneys, lawyers, y'all know where I'm going with this.
Like a motel.
So, but anyway, but that was a good point. Ms. Dutton, back on you, you had given us direction about an amount. And I think the amount was 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes,
With
sir.
a possible recommendation? Anyway, go ahead.
Yes, sir. And if I could add to your point, Commissioner Silver, that, I hear you, and that happened when this jail was built, 40-plus years ago. But that means we still have to work with our partners at the DA's office and with the judges to make sure we are processing these inmates timely so that they're not sitting in the jail for all this time waiting to go in front of the judge. I know there's been a lot of work, and I really appreciate what the district attorney has done with this, what do you call it, jail court, between the sheriff's office and the DA's office, and working with the attorneys to get them there. And the attorneys are spread thin, so it's difficult for them to be in multiple counties when we're all in the same district. So it really has to be a multi-pronged approach, because I don't want to fill it up the first day either. But if they know the space is there, we've seen it happen before. I just wanted to add that to it.
Right, that's fine.
Okay, so with that said, I do recommend doing 50 million, and I recommend looking at USDA with the caveat that if something changes on the federal level with the way things are funded, and we would bring that back to you, of course. What I would say is allot 45 million for the jail project, and then if you could indulge us for 5 million to finish the renovations of the building down the street. We received
Building down the
basically-
street is,
Court Services Building,
Right,
excuse
okay,
me.
all right.
We received with two different allotments, about $8.5 million from the General Assembly to upfit the third floor, to be able to move the judges up there. We desperately need space, to give them space. We're also now going to provide office space for the public defender, so we're adding space there. And I need a little bit more to finish this project. We met with our CMAR folks, was it last week before? And so they're getting up to speed because this is a complicated project. You know, renovating while it's inhabited, adding the sprinkler system, which is very expensive but necessary for safety. So I say all that to say, 50 million, but 45 for the detention center, 5 to finish the court services building, and I would say USDA unless something changes.
Commissioner Webb?
May I add?
Yes, sir.
I understand the court service and I understand the renovation of the third floor, but to me, that's a separate issue. When we started this 2 years ago, the advocacy and the fight was for a detention center, because our detention center cannot function as it is. The courthouse can function right now, but that detention center cannot function. It is not functional. And I believe that the entire 50 million should go towards the construction of our detention center, because we don't even know what the 50 million is going to bring us. It may bring us 250, but if we go down to 45 and it only brings us 200, that's the concern I have. So I think that other $5 million will go on the court servicing and renovation of that floor is a separate issue that we need to address, not now, but at a later time. And that's just my position.
Okay. All right.
What do we do with the jail we got?
So what I envision happening is, once the inmates are moved, is the sheriff's office also needs space, and to let them expand into, we would have to renovate some piece of it, but they would need some space for office.
But not all of it.
No, not all of it. And they probably need some storage space too.
Well, you know, you're juggling a lot of balls here, y'all.
Right.
And you know that. I mean, you know, we're trying to do business for the county, and at the same time, you know, we're trying to be conscious, you know, about not raising taxes too. You know, whether that's going to happen, whether it's not going to happen, you know, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully we'll be able to, some of this debt will roll off and other things happen, but we may not have to do that. And if we do, it'll have to be a minimal amount. But, you know, so, you know, Ms. Denton, I think in her presentation, what she was saying was, yeah, certainly you're right, Commissioner Webb. No question, this jail needs to be done, and we have tried to do it numerous times before and just have halted it. And y'all know, I told you in the beginning, that if we're not going to proceed with this thing, I don't want to do it. Because I don't want to stop this thing for the second or third time. And, I mean, that's just bad business. But I think at the same time, she's trying to be good stewards over the funds that we have to work with. That was why she was saying the 45 million. Probably true, all 50 probably needs to go in the jail, no question about that. But she was just trying to go ahead and finish off that courthouse. I said courthouse, y'all know what I'm talking about, the new courthouse. And we will have everything in place with that. We wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. That will be over. Now, would everything be over in the jail? You know, we may have to come back, you know, with some of our U.S. congressional folks, even some of our state representatives, maybe have to do some loans and all things, you know, to maybe finish off some more things at the jail. But, you know, this will put us in a good position to kind of get, you know, two things at one time, in my opinion. Any other commissioner can speak, and Commissioner Webb, certainly you welcome to speak again as well. Attorney Rollins, and then Commissioner Webb.
I'll add to what Mr. Chairman said and what Dia was referencing, and that is that we're going to need to complete this court services building project as well. The cost involved of going to, if you have to go to another borrowing on a separate loan of that money, you're going to have additional cost involved in those borrowing efforts. And if while you're in the process of financing one project and having another project that you can also complete, it may be advantageous to take advantage of all of that work and cost of borrowing that you have involved, whether it be 45 and 5 million on another project, or if it's some other figure. But while you're going to go through the trouble, and Barry and I both know what the trouble is when you start to borrow money, and you all are going to find out, there's a lot of work involved, and while you're doing that work, if there's a way to fold in the financing of this remaining project that we've begun, there's something to think about. You don't have to commit to it right now, but it's certainly something to think about while you're going to the trouble of doing a financing.
But here's my concern.
Okay.
I mean, what was asked of us a while back was 3 options, 30, 40, 50 million for the construction of the detention center only. And then we was going to choose the financing option. Those are the 3 numbers that were provided to us. And I understand about the renovation of the courthouse itself. But let's say, for instance, that we do ask for 50 million. But we don't have to use the entire 50 million based on the architecture and design and the number of beds that we get and the design that we want. And let's say there is a few $1 million left over. But I don't want to pinpoint it to 45. I just don't want to. I don't want to pinpoint to 45. I'd rather ask for the 50 million for the detention center, provided that if it does not exceed 50 million, and then let's say it's come in at 46 or 47, then those funds can go towards the additional, I guess, renovation of the courthouse. I just don't want to pinpoint 45. I'm just, because I don't know what's the design, I don't know what the capacity or the square footage is going to come in looking at just 45. And then the numbers that we provided with the other detention centers that have been built, these numbers several years old. That's.
And also too, Commissioner Webb, in all fairness, you know, even though I understand 100% what you're saying, but also, you know, we're not sure that that what's going to be needed to finish off the courthouse is going to be 5 million.
Right.
You know, it could be $1 million, could be 2 million.
Right.
And then if you don't use it over there, we can, you know, use it another place. But we got to make sure all that information is clearly understood, and, you know, we know the right I's to dot and
Yes, sir.
T's to cross, make that happen.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yeah, well, and I'll briefly just go off what he's saying as well, is that, and I get it, Ms. Denton, you know, you got a tough job, but your job's different from our job. And me and Mr. Webb and all of us, we got to go out there and look at the public in the face, and they're going to ask us, well, are we shortchanging the detention center so we can make a judge have a judge have a nice office to be in? And that's a tough sell for us to look taxpayers in the face and say, you know, are we shortchanging public safety so that, and I know that's not, I know I'm simplifying it, don't get me wrong, I know I'm simplifying that, but you know, a lot of people in the public simplify a lot of things. So I would be with Mr. Webb. I'd say we appropriate money for a detention center, and if at the end of the day we get what we need and exactly what we want, and there's some money left over, I would not mind all readdressing that issue. But I think going forward, we need to allot, this is how much money we're allotting for the detention center, and see where it chips. Can we do that, Mr. Attorney? Can we, at the end, allot money that was left?
Nothing you do today is binding on anything. This is just getting direction from the board about which options we want to pursue and how much.
But can we do that? If we, let's say, if somewhere down the road, we approved a $50 million project, but at the end of the day, if 33 million was left over, could we allot that to something else?
One thing I would say, if it's USDA funding, as long as the USDA is okay with financing in addition to a detention center, the completion of renovations on the court services building, that would be, you'd have to clear that with that particular lender, and we hope it will be USDA, it might be some other lender. But as long as your lender doesn't mind you amending the project to include something else, certainly you can do that.
Okay, a lot of discussion on that, that's good. Anyone who, yes, sir.
I just want to say I don't want to hold the ball like Barrett. I'm good with spending $50 million on the jail, but I want that to be about the jail, not about the courthouse, because I can't go out and tell taxpayers, people that supported me, that we're spending money to do something at a courthouse Public safety is where we at right now. People already hesitant to say you're spending money on the jail to take care of inmates, but as we know, we gotta make that jail safe because those inmates are people.
Yeah.
So I want not lose focus on trying to slide something else in. We should be primary that jail.
Commissioner Barrett, Commissioner, Redding?
And I don't want us to lose focus that that whole complex is interconnected either.
Right.
So the judges will work with court services as well as the jail to reach the criminal justice goals that we have.
And Commissioner Reddy, your point is well taken. Judges are public safety as well, you know. But anyway, okay, all right, need a motion
I move
in
that,
regard to giving staff direction, you know.
I move that we have a not to exceed $50 million regarding the construction of the new detention facility.
Okay, motion been made by Commissioner Webb. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion?
That motion is just for the amount of 50.
Just
The budget, but that does not include the option.
Need a second motion?
We're gonna need
Huh?
a second.
Will there be a second motion?
Second motion.
Okay.
Okay, right. Yeah, that's just to give direction about the amount. Okay, good clarification, Commissioner Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Madam Clerk, let the record so reflect that vote was unanimous. Okay, Mr. Webb?
Also make another motion as to the financing option. I think it was mentioned the USDA.
Yeah, that's what she
That
mentioned.
option.
Okay.
So that's your motion?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we're going to vote on that as a vote. I'm going to have to recuse myself. I did not know that would be coming up today.
About USDA?
About USDA.
Okay.
I have contracts with USDA.
Okay, we're gonna have to vote on you recusing yourself, but go ahead, Attorney Rollins.
I think all we're actually doing today is voting on giving direction to staff to pursue the USDA funding. It may or may not pan out, and on the other hand, they're probably, I don't know the nature of your contracts, but I don't think that there's really anything about financing with the USDA and that particular program that would do this public facility financing that's connected to anything that you might gain from USDA having business. But it's strictly a financial conflict is what we're looking for.
Okay, well, see, in my capacity, I review.
As an
the
appraiser.
appraisals
Right.
They get done on government contracts.
All right, well, you can,
Okay.
that'll be up to them.
Okay, all right. So I'll make a motion that we recuse Commissioner Barrett from voting in this. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Webb. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, you excuse, you won't have to vote on this. Now, what was I at everything?
I got to read the motion.
You have a motion.
For the USDA financing, pursue the USDA financing. That's what we are.
I didn't carry the motion.
No, sir.
You don't have a second.
Okay.
You need a second?
Yeah, we need a second.
Right.
Okay, by second by Commissioner Reddy. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And also, Attorney Rollins, thank you for that information about that. All right, now, y'all, we've been sitting here since 9:30,
That's what we
and it's almost 11:30. So I tell you what, let's return at 11:30.
I didn't know what we were talking about.
Started back. I do want to remind my colleagues for the third time.
We can bring it up.
And also people who are speaking at the podium there, make sure that you speak real close to that mic if you're speaking at the podium. And commissioners and staff, if you're speaking over this way, make sure you turn your mics on. You know, and then of course you can turn them off when you finish. Okay. Oh, they do have it. Okay. Yep, so staff, make sure you turn yours on as well. All right, at this time, we're going to move to the next item on the agenda, which is item G. We have the Center for Energy Education off the Purchase County property. We're going to hear from our county manager, Ms. Denton.
I'm following instructions, turning on my mic. Good morning again, Commissioners. This is another holdover from your January 21st meeting, so hence the extra items on your agenda today. You deferred action on an offer from the Center for Energy Education to purchase county property for $75,000. You all directed county staff to provide you some additional information. You have two attachments in your agenda materials. The first is a memo from the county attorney, and the second is basically an analysis of the property and its potential benefits to the county into the future. I'm just going to pass this off to Attorney Rollins for him to briefly discuss the memo. You have had some time to look at it. Didn't know if you have questions or if there's any highlights he would like to hit before you have some discussion.
Okay, Attorney Rollins.
Don't think I was expecting that, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So I prepared a memo, and it's in your agenda packet today, and you've had it for some time before now as well, concerning what's being requested. And the memo goes into the memo, that's just a word I can take, but okay. The memo goes into some of the history of this particular lease and how it began. And it began as an economic development project back around 2012 or so, Kathy, if I'm trying to remember. There were a number of, or at least more than one, interest in the airport property, which the county acquired after the new airport was constructed and put into operation. For using the property as a solar facility. Kathy could speak more to this, but we had a proposal from Gen X to do that, and at the time it wasn't clear that that was something that we wanted to take the property and actually convey it to Gen X under some kind of economic development project. But it was proposed that the land would be leased by Gen X, and as part of the economic development project, in addition to completing the solar facility within a certain period of time and at a certain level of capital investment, that Gen X would also build and construct and operate during the entire lease term a Center for Energy Education, which is what they did. After, I forget exactly when, but a few years into the economic development project, after the building was finished, there was Gen X requested to convey the property to a nonprofit entity. Gen X created the nonprofit entity, and that's now what we know as the Center for Energy Education. The county consented to that assignment to the Center for Energy Education on several conditions, but the principal condition being that the property would remain would not be tax exempt, because part of the economic development transaction had to do with the county earning back from the project a certain level of property tax revenue for a 10-year period of time. So that was specifically included in the assignment agreement between Gen X and the Center for Energy Education I believe that 10-year period, I think, probably runs out in a year or two, a couple of years left on that particular limitation. That's not to say, and I'm not predicting what will or won't happen, that's not to say that the Center for Energy Education is necessarily going to be a property tax exempt entity. That's something that's that's up to the tax assessor and how he handles an application for property tax exemption. In any event, this was all part of an economic development project and still is, and still will be even after that initial 10-year period is up. I think I made a point in the memo that the Center for Energy Education steps into the shoes of Gen X when it comes to this property and their obligations on this property. The lease that we have with Gen X requires that the lessee, which is now the Center for Energy Education, shall continue to operate and maintain the property and shall continue to operate a Center for Energy Education on the property throughout the term of the lease. And I don't have notes because when I came back from court, I just didn't bring notes with me. My apology to the board. But I believe that lease runs through, someone help me here.
June 30th, 2040.
See, y'all don't need me for anything. That's great. Okay. So the lease continues through that date, and as long as that's the case, the center is bound to operate and maintain the property. The lease also requires that at the end of the lease term, the property as improved becomes the property of the county. That was also part of the original negotiations we had with Gen X. That doesn't change just because the lease was assigned. That puts us now in a situation where the Center for Energy Education has made an offer to purchase the property, not under the economic development statutes, because that might be an option, but it's not a viable option under the statute because of certain conditions that would have to be met for this to continue to be an economic development project, to convey the property and change the terms of the economic development agreement we have with Gen X. But they've made an offer to purchase, which we are now considering under the usual Chapter 160A, Article 12 procedures about whether, one, you want to accept that offer and move on to an upset bid process, which is required by law, or whether you want to reject the offer or not consider selling the property. I need to, and I'm really getting into the weeds because that's what I'm supposed to do. This is economic development property, and if you're going to sell it by an offer and upset bid process, you're going to have to declare it not to be economic development property, and probably you're going to have to declare it to be surplus property that you don't intend to use in the future to sell under this particular process. I don't know, I mention that because that's, part of the formality of when you're dealing with property owned by the county, you can't just sell it because you think you want to. You have to make a deliberate decision. You have to deem it not to be ED property. And you're going to have to further deem it to be surplus that you don't have any use for it in the future and you want to sell it in accepting the offer. Now, let's say you accept the offer. What's going to happen is you're going to be open to upset bidders on the property. They're going to be bidding on property that has a lease on it. The lease is got several years left. If it ends up that the Center for Energy Education is the ultimate high bidder on the property, then they'll take the property and their title as a leaseholder and their title as a fee owner will merge and that lease will be terminated. On the other hand, if someone else bids on the property and it's a high bidder and you decide you want to sell the property after all the bidding's over, because that's another thing, when all the bidding is done, you might still come back and decide, well, we don't want to sell it. And you have that option under the statute as well. But if someone else was to make a higher bid and was the ultimate successful bidder on the property, whoever that party is buying the property would take it subject to the lease that would still be in place between that new owner and the Center for Energy Education. One other thing I mentioned in the lease is that you asked us, and we did ask the tax assessor to give us an assessment, an assessed value of the property if it was separated. It currently is valued as all part of that entire 250 some odd acre tract. If it is separated out, the 25 or 26 acres we're talking about now, I asked Shane to give us an assessment on that based on the current schedule of values that we have in place. And he provided us with an assessed tax value of the property of $148,204 and that's $140,114 for the 26 acre tract and $8,900 for the 1 acre tract that's over on Sam Powell Dairy Road. So I wanted you to be aware of that. And finally, I'll mention, I've said this before, but it's in this memo again. The current assessed tax value of the improvements, the building that's on the property, and those improvements that were done by Gen X and which are now occupied by the center, current assessed value is $560,600. And bear in mind that if you were to sell this property and you're giving that up, at the end of that lease, that property is going to be owned by the new owner of the property. If it's someone other than the center, or if the center buys it, the lease is going to terminate, in which case the county is going to not have that interest in the property any longer as well. So you'd be giving up several things, not just the current lease, but you'd be giving up the value of the property that it would have in, I think it's another 15 years we've got to go. But this property is going to become county property at the termination of this lease. That's a lot. I don't know if you have questions, if you've read the memo more carefully. Obviously, some of you have. I couldn't remember the dates that you remind me of, and I thank you for that. But if you've got questions about the memo or any questions about this particular offer to purchase an upset bid process, I'll be glad to entertain those questions and try to answer as best I can.
Okay, commissioners, you've heard information coming from our county manager as well as our county attorney. It's open for discussion at this time. Commissioner Vice Chair Davis, go ahead.
So this has been on my mind since this offer came to us, and I want to focus on what. I'm sorry. I want to focus on what the ask is of us. Correct. So the ask is to either accept or reject the offer of $75,000 on 26 acres plus another acre of land. It's not to consider the service that the Center for Energy provides for us.
That's right.
It's just on that. So I'm trying to keep that as my guide. So I feel like in keeping with the history, I also taking into consideration the history of this project. When it first started, it was an economic development goal, and that's why this agreement came into effect. Then I also have thought about, the possible economic development that looks towards us in the future with the expansion of 158. How that's all going to equal out. And then I also reached out to Ms. Kathy just to find out what type of energy jobs that we have had here in Halifax, how that affect us economically. Have we seen a lot of growth in the area of that industry here with Halifax County? So those are all the things that I have considered. And then at the end of the day, too, I want to be responsible for all the citizens here in Halifax County. And if I was selling that land, I knew I would ask more for that parcel of land when you consider all the money we have put into it as infrastructure, to build it up and to make it accessible. So I'm hoping that we could find a balance, because I see that the energy is very, the Center for Energy Education is very important to our community. I would almost feel like a step has been missed. You know, I would have liked to have the opportunity as the county commissioners to sort of sit with the Center of Energy Board to find out what their plans were, how they were planning to use this land. Were there ways that we can come together to decide a plan to help you all grow and provide the services and the space that you need, and also protect our land for economic development? So, you know, so I'm going to give a chance for everybody else to share their opinions. So.
Okay, all right. Who's next?
I guess I go.
Okay.
Of course, I didn't know a lot about solar energy in the beginning, but of course, after the moratorium was passed and after we had a meeting with the planning.
Pull the mic up a little bit, Tony.
And after we had a meeting with the planning and zoning, I learned a lot about solar energy. So I'm kind of like Commissioner Davis. I'm in the middle, and I want to know first, what is the county giving up? What is the county giving up? I heard a lot about economic development plan, but I wasn't part of the board then, so I'm new. I don't know the history of the 300-plus acre property. I don't know what are we actually, what will we be giving up?
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Do you want to respond to that, Attorney Rollins, or Ms. Denton?
Were you asking me?
Anyone.
Okay, well, one thing you're clearly giving up is, one thing you're clearly would be giving up would be your interest in the property at the termination of this lease, which is the property as improved. That building, currently valued at over $500,000, is going to be county property at the end of the lease. You're giving that up. You're giving up current lease payments, which there aren't that many they're not that much. I think I forget the figure, I don't have it in this memo, but I think I reported that to you earlier. The current lease payments are not that much, mainly because, you know, part of the reason not that much is because that was part of the negotiation back then, was, you know, the lease payment was basically adjusted because of the other things we wanted in the agreement, which was the construction, operation, and maintenance of an education facility, Center for Energy Education, that would become county property at the end of the lease.
Okay.
So that's why all that kind of ties together. And essentially, you're ending an economic development agreement that was in place between GenX and the county. The Center for Energy Education just happens to be in it now because GenX wanted to create a nonprofit to run the center, the education center for Solar Energy Education Center.
I guess my next question is, I guess more specifically, the strategic plans may have been in place a long time before I got on the board. What about I've heard this for years, the 4-laning of U.S. Highway 158. And also, I think it may be a Weldon to Raleigh, quote-unquote, passenger rail project in the future. I mean, would we be giving those, what would we be giving up if we looked at those?
Ms. Scott, I want you to address that.
And I would defer to Ms. Scott.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
If you don't mind, please. Okay. Just give her a second, because I don't want to go to the next person, the next question, then we get off, want still on target where we at, what we're doing.
So after the last discussion regarding this property and the future strategic improvements that might be made in the future. Management team asked me to put together some information to really kind of figure out where it stands from a standpoint of four laning that's been promised to us for how many years? So there's a point there, you know. And so, and then, you know, with the passenger rail station, which, you know, this project has become very strategic, this property has become very strategic in plans for that. So, right now, and I did have a conversation with NCDOT a couple of weeks ago, express design of four lane and 158 is well underway. It's been well underway for about 3, 4, 5 months now. And so there's some concepts that have currently been developed, I've seen them. And right now they're out for strategic review by DOT and transportation officials. So while this doesn't sound like much, it really is a whole lot. This has never been done for 158. There hasn't been design of 158 improvements. So there's actually express design. Express means that the state sees an opportunity to do design of this project and get it funded in a quicker manner than it's happened in the past. And I believe the strategy is to break it up in segments so that it can be funded, just like Northampton has been. You see, different segments have been done in 158. And so that's underway, and you know, that's what DOT tells us. It is in the Strategic Transportation Improvement Program as this express design is underway. Not funded, but it's showing that that express design is underway and to be completed in this time frame. So that's further than we've ever been. Okay. I think 158 in Halifax. Now the Weldon-Raleigh Passenger Rail Project, you know, we've been working on passenger rail, bringing it back to Weldon for years. NCDOT purchased the S line and SA line easements from CSX. That's the abandoned railroad bed that many of you are familiar with. And so they bought that from CSX and developed 12 strategic corridors in the state of North Carolina. And so one of those corridors, instead of just north and south rail service from between Rocky Mount and Petersburg, they're planning for Weldon to be a Weldon to Raleigh connection. And so those 12 corridors are out there, and right now Weldon, NCDOT is beginning, and the agreement should be in place currently to start, I'd say 1st of April, 1st of May, and the mobility hub plan for Weldon, which will actually be the strategic process the NCDOT uses to final design where that rail station should go. May not be the library where it's currently been talked about for years. But they're going to look at the mobility of the town because NCDOT has told us in the past they have greater plans for us than just rail. It's not funded. You go to the STIP, this rail corridor does show up as a strategic corridor for the rail. The state has been dependent on the federal government to fund a lot of the development of this 12 corridors. 6 have been funded by the federal government. So that portion, Wake Forest, Henderson, North, that's going to come before us. And that design is well underway now. So you hear more and more about that strategic rail corridor. So like I said, there's 12, 6 have been funded. We probably got a few years before we're going to have a passenger rail service in Halifax County, but it's close to Minnesota. Okay. Those are the main strategic investments we see that are possible for this property and definitely impactful for Halifax County.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Okay, finish, Mr. Webb?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other commissioners want to make comments at this time? Okay, Commissioner Redding?
First of all, I want to acknowledge the great work the Center for Energy Education has been doing. I've personally observed it as an instructor at Halifax Community College. Some of my students over the years have participated in their summer camps, as well as intern center. And I spoke about this a few weeks ago. One in particular was in my office panicking because she didn't know what to put on her resume. And I told her, take out her notebook and we would start to document some of what she has done. And one of her experiences had been as an intern with the center. So she became excited to be able to document that as work experience and internship experience on her resume. We've also had students who have been able to do presentations at community college as well on their experiences working at the Center for Energy Education as well as use these experiences on their college applications when they apply to A&T and some of our other great colleges and universities in the state of North Carolina. The Center for Energy Education is also one of the few centers or just entities in this area outside of our school systems at HCC that is actually doing work with young people. And that's really a shame on one hand, because a lot of our young people want to have experiences in terms of internships, work experiences to socialize and learn with other youth. And sometimes they go home to Hollister, Tillery, Hopwood, and elsewhere and look around and there's no other place but the center and a couple other places for them to get those experiences. And then I would also say that I love that they have a multi-generational staff as well that wants to continue the important work they're doing to uplift and empower our young people as well. And then my final point would be that if we're not, as a board, comfortable with the offer, because you, Chairman, stated last time, we have had a great working relationship with them, and to Commissioner Davis's point, is there room for us to prolong this discussion a little bit longer, to learn more from them, to do some negotiating, to maybe exchange some counter offers, to maybe reach a decision that we're both comfortable with, that is responsive not only to our goals, but their goals and to the county's goals.
Thank you, Commissioner Redden. Okay, Commissioner Silver?
My concern is the Center for Energy has done a lot of great things. I think most of the board members up here are supportive of it. But when we look at opening this process up, you're hearing things on the upsetting bid process that we're opening up, that could put them in jeopardy if somebody else come in and bid on it. I'm listening to what the value is, and they may have to terminate that lease to make it fair. That's a whole lot of chances to me, the Center for Energy to be putting out there, knowing that we have investors in Halifax County is buying up stuff, because up my way, land that comes up for sale, 10, 20 acres, this being snapped up from people that you don't even know out of state. So that's a concern, and the hurdles that we have to go to, saying it's not economic development, surplus property, and hearing the potential value, there's a whole lot of hurdles that I'm worried about if we start jumping through that could actually hurt the Center for Energy, because we don't want to lose it. And so I think those things should be seriously looked at and discussed before we make any actions. And I think we need to understand the outcome of it, and they need to understand the outcome that somebody else may have an interest in it, especially if you're talking about that price. I just want to look at all the stuff. Attorney Rollins, you think
Yeah.
you gave me a wealth of knowledge on this.
Yeah, you probably hit a legal point, that's why you threw it in.
And I don't want to, I want to go back to you, Mr. Silver, and the points you were making, but one thing that I did mention in the memo to you that I didn't mention here is that the Center for Energy Education does have a right of first refusal on the property.
Explain what that is. I got it, okay.
Do my best. Which ironically means that whoever might come in and bid a higher price, the highest and successful bidder, before the county could, if the county was then willing to sell the property for that higher price, whatever it might be, then the center has to be given the opportunity to come in and say, okay, we'll buy it for that price. So another wrinkle in all of this is that it's not just the lease, but also in the lease, there's a right of first refusal that the center has that says if the county intends to sell the property to someone else, before that can happen, the center has to be given the opportunity, or the lessee, which at this time is the center, has to be given the opportunity to purchase the property at that price. I don't know that that matters, it's just that it was another thing that makes this very complicated when you've got a current tenant on your property with the right of first refusal who makes an offer, and you go through an upset bid process that both the lease and that right of first refusal complicate the upset bid process, which is intended, the upset bid process is intended to get the best price you can get for the property that you're, as a county, decide you want to sell. All of this assumes you want to sell the property, and that's just another part of what Ms. Davis pointed out as being part of what you've got to decide here. Do you want to sell it to begin with? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know, but that's really the initial question. Do we want to sell it, or we want to maintain to hold it in its current status as economic development property?
Thank you, Attorney Rollins. I read that at 2 o'clock, this thing has been concerning me so much last night, but,
You should have called me, I was up by that time.
you up too? Yeah, so Center for Energy, this is not taken lightly. I don't want you to know by the county commissioners. We want to see you grow, but we do have a fiduciary duty to do what's right by the county and our citizens. So it's a struggle on some of these things. For a new county commissioner like me, I'm not seasoned like those guys.
Okay, anyone else? Commissioner Reddy?
I did want to add that solar powered trains, so I can see our youth in the future. If we have that train coming here, on top of that train installing the panels, the solar panels.
Okay. All right, anyone else? Well, I guess I'm gonna say something. And I got a few things jotted down that I'm going to say. As Halifax County Commissioners, each one of us, each commissioner, is charged with doing what is best for Halifax County and its citizens. And we're not charged with doing what's best for a select group, entity, or individuals, as we all know. Yes, Commissioner Redden, I did say that the Center for Energy Education has served our community well, and they have, absolutely. Talked with a lady yesterday in Raleigh who pointed out, that to me, a commissioner from another area. That is good. However, that is not, and I think Commissioner Davis kind of alluded to that. That is good. However, that is not what is here before us this morning. What before us today is the Center for Energy Education is making an offer of $75,000 wanting to purchase county property. It is also worth noting, colleagues, that all the information that Ms. Denton and Attorney Rollins and the staff has put before us points in the direction of not selling the property. And, let's be real clear on this now. Staff has provided us a lot of information, but that decision is not up to staff. It's up to the 6 of us. Selling the 27-acre tract will limit the county's ability and I think Commissioner Silver alluded to this a little bit, ability to leverage this infrastructure improvements to attract higher valuable economic opportunities in the future, such as industrial, commercial, or mixed-use developments that generate permanent sustainable jobs and significant tax base when the current solar lease expires, which is June 30th of 2024. No, excuse me, June 30th, 2040. So, commissioners, if all minds and hearts are clear, do anybody have any more comments they want to make? Because I'm getting ready to make a motion. Okay, my motion is this. I make a motion that we reject the offer to purchase made by the Center for Energy Education for the property that we are currently leasing to them. And I further move that we declare that we have no current interest in selling this property. And further, I want to make this real clear too. If this motion passes, it will in no way interfere with the Center for Energy Education operating under their county lease, which expires June 30th, 2040. And I can even go a step further, and I'm speaking for me, but I think I speak for you all too when I say this, and if you disagree, certainly you're welcome to speak up. But you know, as far as there's been some discussion about grants and other things that they may need, to move forward. But by them leasing from us and by them being good stewards, I think this board, without question, would offer any type of letter of support to make things happen for the Center for Energy Education. But getting back to my motion is, and we do want to keep them in the community. All of us know that, and all of us agree about that. But my motion is that we reject the offer to purchase made by the Center for Energy Education for the property that we are currently leasing to them. And I further move that we declare that we have no current interest in selling the property. With that motion, I'll ask for a second, if you see fit.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Bryant, second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Madam Clerk, that vote is unanimous. And Madam Clerk, I know that you can limit it a lot of times to what you can put in your minutes, but I want you to put in everything I said. Right, colleagues?
Yes.
Because what I said, not just the motion, but I want the public to know, and I want the center to know that in no way what we're doing is going to interfere with how they're doing business at the center. And further, that we're here as a board of county commissioners and our staff to help them in any way in the good business and allow them to continue to do good business and help in any way, letter of support, etc. Okay? Are y'all okay with that, commissioners?
Yes, we are.
Okay, all right. Anything else on that?
Chairman Meyer.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe I need to make a motion, but is there a way that we can use this opportunity to have a meeting between the Center for Energy Education and our staff, just to learn more about the grant that they may have been seeking, or grant opportunities that they were seeking, what their plans are for growing the center, and see how we can assist in that manner?
Commissioner Davis, you bring up a good point, and my suggestion would be, and colleagues, y'all jump in now. My suggestion would be that Ms. Lowe needs to speak with Ms. Denton, and they need to make that happen. Okay? Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, very good. Anything else? If not, we're going to move on to the next item, which is board appointments. And that's on the item A, board appointments. Madam Clerk, keep me on task with this now, okay? Okay. Okay, infield Board of Adjustment. Receive nominations to reappoint Laura Clay and/or Belfort Keeter Jr.
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Webb. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Receive nominations to waive the term limit and reappoint, is that, and not supposed to be in there, is that just a typo or something? Okay. All right, receive nominations to waive the term limit and reappoint Lester Shields. Okay, motion made by Commissioner Byrd, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Am I on infield planning board? Okay. Receive nominations to waive the term limit and reappoint Calvin Pittman and Tony Silver, two fine individuals. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Silver. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Webb. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, receive nominations to reappoint Joseph Brinkley and Thomas Wren to the Halifax County Planning Board.
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chair Davis. There a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Webb. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Receive nominations to waive the term limit and reappoint Gregory Brown and also to the Halifax County Planning Board.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Webb. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Silver. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Halifax County Semi-Quincentennial Commission. Receive nominations to appoint Teresa Chichester. So moved. Who said that? Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Webb. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. This is not a conflict of interest, I don't think. What are you laughing about and turning around?
I'm still trying to figure the software out on this agenda.
Halifax County Northampton Regional Airport Authority received nominations to appoint Adam Reed to replace Vernon J. Bryant. Y'all can make a motion. I so move.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Bryant, second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Y'all thought you would hurt my feelings.
I want you to keep going to a meeting. I didn't want to let you have a meeting, Vernon.
You want to let me out? Well, I think I explained to y'all last time what Adam Reed. Kathy, if you don't mind, stand up 1 minute and tell us about Adam Reed, please.
Adam Reed is the new manager for the Roseburg Zone Development. And he and his wife moved here in summer of 2022.
Right, I think,
When the Camille was under construction, he has been manager. And he is one of the nicest, smartest people that, when they let you have, they'll move to our community. And they bought a house here. But he's going to be a great asset to the airport authority.
and his company,
Use the airport
right,
quite a bit.
Yeah.
They're one of the best customers, like say top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And so definitely that expertise will be great for the airport.
But-
And he'll be his first meeting tomorrow night, I guess.
yeah. Will Christina?
Yes, he will.
Christina serves as our liaison to the airport. I'm going to miss serving on the airport. I've been on there at least about 11 years. And, but anyway, Adam will bring a lot to the airport. Airport is doing good, y'all, but it's got to move to the next level. And the reason I stepped back and let Adam take my seat was this is a way that could happen, possibly. Okay. Next one is Lake Gaston Weed Council Control. Receive nominations to reappoint Leonard Little.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Silver. That's your committee, isn't it? Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Is that it?
It is.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. You're so good at this. Also, Commissioners, want to bring your attention to the vacancies on different boards. Just kind of look at them, and if you know people in your respective communities, I know Commissioner Silver and I have talked about it, and Commissioner Davis too, up in the Hollister Ringwood area and other places. But if you have folks within your respective communities, just tell them about these boards and committees and try to get them, on some of these boards, okay? All right, now, I think we're at the next economic development. Ms. Scott?
I'm going to run through and give you a quick update. I know you had this in your weekly update. I do have, I'd like to do a project update in closed session.
Sure. Yes.
Update on our economic indicators, no change in the unemployment figures on our last meeting. They'll come out this week, but not for this meeting today. Our building permits through December of 2024, just over 55 million compared to 3.3 million a year ago. Part of that 55 million is new school, so construction activity will be generated by that school, which is good for the community. Retail sales, just over 60 million compared to 62 million for November of last year. And our retail sales, they're behind about 2 months, so we won't get December until February or later this month. But we're behind for the first time in 2024 in 4 years since COVID. So they're very stagnant right now. A lot of it's because some of the large construction that we've had ongoing, like Roseburg and Bigger Oaks and other construction activities, those are completed. So hopefully the schools being constructed will have impact on construction costs. I met with the town of Hopgood. They have 4 buildings that they purchased several years ago. They received a $250,000 appropriation, and they need about $500,000 more to upfit 3 of the buildings. They were able to sell 1, but that's what they want them to look like. I was invited along with Commissioner Silver and Dr. Elliott, President of the Community College, and a couple of others to participate in the Youth North Carolina Leadership Forum. And it's a kind of a think tank opportunity. They'll meet 4 times this year, and the topic that we're challenged with is how do we ensure there's an adequate workforce in place for a changing economy? And Halifax wasn't Edgecombe and Nash counties, so definitely a lot of smart minds in that room. And Mr. Silver knows everybody.
That's right.
I know that.
But town hall meeting, I attended Representative Rodney Pierce's town hall meeting on January 27th. Attorney Larry Armstrong was there and did a Leandro presentation, the most thorough presentation I've heard.
He knows more than anybody about it.
Yes.
He's probably the only attorney who's been involved since it was first filed.
He was quick.
Very good there. Quick project updates, we're going to be getting with Heaton Construction and get their groundbreaking or grand opening scheduled this spring. The Tesla charging station at Oasis is up and running. In fact, I sent some of y'all a video. Please pass it along in the weekly update. This was rated as one of the top in the nation. It's the largest on the East Coast, Southeast. And it was just named the highest rated charging area in the country. 47 out of 50 points by this guy who goes around and rates stuff. And it's very interesting. It tells a lot about our community in that video, so I'll be sure to share. The Fairfield by Marriott, their general manager visited with us last month and, this month, January, and they're up and running, getting everything up and running. They're on schedule to open in April, and just looking forward to more development in that subdivision. The Halifax Community College Waterloo project, you all are familiar with that. We received a grant from Golden Leaf for $350,000 to participate in that construction cost. May or may not be needed depending on if they run into any issues, because it came in under bid, but that project's on the way, and this capacity is going to help them grow in the future. And a lot of people don't know this, but the Advanced Manufacturing Center that was built at the college was supposed to be 30,000 square feet. It had to be reduced because they didn't have enough water capacity to provide sprinkler protection. So that's how much water is important to their future growth. There were 71 new townhomes approved for Grand Rapids in the Grand Rapids area, not within the city of Grand Rapids. This will be over there in the area of Villages of Cross Creek. This development is going to provide market-based housing for our community, just very important, tremendous demand for market-based housing. The former Harley Davidson building, which is just down the street from my office, there's a new company called Celebrite that is leasing that building. I've arranged a meeting with them and community college, they need CDLs and electricians. So they met with college and Nancy Works this past week. And this company provides maintenance for solar facilities. They do their work primarily with wind. And they do the vegetation maintenance. They do solar panel washing, things of that nature, some electrical. And they hire a lot of contractual workers to do the work of the company. They're an existing company. They were in South Carolina, but they became their major client and moved north to Grand Rapids, found this building as an opportunity. Carolina Inn.
Ms. Scott.
Yes.
Solar Bright, if you had, it says needs CDL drivers and licensed drivers and electricians. So if we know of someone who's interested, how would we just Solar Bright on the internet?
Reach out to me and I'll pass out along the information if something from that.
Okay.
Yeah, just do that. But this is really good because the college is starting a CDL program, so this demand is really important for them right now. So it's a great mix.
Just a personal interest. My son has just finished his CDL license course, so he's got to take a driving test. But
Carolina Inn, this is an old rundown area of Grand Rapids. Evidently, the owner plans to renovate and reuse this as a boutique hotel, kind of an oasis hotel. So we're all excited about that, see that property change and be what it can be to improve downtown Grand Rapids. Our ongoing infrastructure projects, just a quick update on the Air Miles Road project. We will be applying for Southeast Crescent Authority funding for our gap for that project. Those applications are due this month, February, unless something changes. But they're federally appropriated. Hopefully they have their appropriation currently. But we'll keep you posted. We're busy January client month. We have a lot of new activity, new client activity, a lot of building interest. And, the fact that we have plans to build a 40,000 square foot building. A couple of these project showed we were able to respond to the building even if something changes in the future. So definitely leaving that project moving this inquiry forward. A couple of things coming up. Halifax License this week has an economic update luncheon. Chris Chung, who is president of the Economic Development Partnership, is going to be our guest speaker. He's going to do a statewide economic update. Talk about our place in the world and economic development. He's a great speaker. If you're free for lunch, please come. We'd like you to attend.
I know I've done mine, but do we need to tell you that in advance now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can plan?
So just let me know.
Okay.
I've heard from some of you.
Yeah.
That you'll be attending.
So colleagues, if you
Everybody
would like to go, just
No
let her
cost,
know.
though. Please attend.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be partnering with Halifax Community College on Computer Day, March 19th. Sounds like a long time away, but it's next month now. So, I met Ms. Plum last week. We came up with a strategy for ways that we can help her be successful in getting business and service agencies support, providing people pathways to employment. So, I'll keep you informed. That's another way that we try to work with our partner at Halifax Community College. I think that's it. Any questions?
Kathy,
Yes.
Go ahead, Commissioner Silva.
I was going to ask you, I noticed we was at the meeting, you talked about the number of jobs we have open in Halifax County. Number of jobs we have open in Halifax County. What were those numbers?
What was that number?
Yeah, the vacancies.
I think it's 1,066. 1,066 advertised job opening through December.
Okay. And how many people do we have looking?
I believe it's 946.
what do you think is the mismatch in not being able to fill those jobs? Is it the salary? Do you know what the average pay is? Skills?
Yes, and I think, Dr. Elliott and I were having this conversation last week. It's also, people not aware, even I know.
Yeah.
How do we get the word out about employment opportunities? And then again, we are a tier 1 area. We have challenges from the standpoint of transportation and addressing that as well.
Are these companies, people looking to hire people, are you having a conversation, Dr. Elliott, having a conversation on how to work together to help those people get those skills? Okay.
And they're doing more, I would say, more focused training. Like, you may have read recently about the Chevrolet or the Ford dealership, having specific training to help mechanics. That's a way that is helping someone that isn't institutional type, long-term training, but helping someone get an immediate skill that they can get an immediate job. And they're trying to focus the colleges more on that quicker opportunity to get jobs, provide skills to help people get jobs.
Because I think somewhere along the way, we need to have that hard conversation with employers too, that sometimes they got to offer training and work with them. And not only that, they got to pay a livable wage. God, some jobs, they just can't leave home, mom and daddy, to go. Yeah.
Our employers,
Yeah.
And anytime, some of that information is trade and proprietary that
Yeah.
you see about their wages. But I can say overall, I don't know a single company that we have that's one of our major industries that pays below the average user wage. Generally, they're all above, well above the average user wage, because they know they can't recruit employees without,
My last question, how many charging stations do we have in Halifax County? Do you know?
I haven't done that report. I did the report and sent that to the management team, Commissioner Davis, and all the solar facilities where they're located.
But can we get that? Because had a family union, several events. I actually got cousins got vehicles to charge. They come down for the weekend just like the powwow. They want to know where they get, where to go.
Well, it's at 168. That's one of the largest.
Yeah.
The Tesla charging station. And depending on the car, they have an adapter that you can use to charge any vehicle.
It may be nice if we could get a map to tell them, because that sounds convenient where you're saying that, but if you're in Hollister, that's not convenient. That's half a day with the drive and charging.
We know
Yeah.
this, that they're not, well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other small towns don't have that. I think the county is working to get some and make it convenient for this area, but yeah, I'll work on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, finish my civil. You finished?
I'll get back with you, don't ask me that. He said I'm finished, I said I always got something for Kathy.
Okay.
This is something I can do.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, he finished for now, though, I think. Okay, thank you, Ms. Scott. Appreciate all that you do as well. You incredible. And also, I appreciate you help coordinating those recognitions this morning, the special recognition. You played an important part in that.
Well, the mill boys, they're herding cats.
Yeah. I know it.
Bruce was here, I was scared he was gonna be late.
Yeah. And see, I see Bruce all the time, but I don't never see the other guy that, you know.
Michael, he's in Durham.
Right.
He's a Durham.
Okay.
He's a quiet one.
All right. We're going to hear from our hard-working county manager, Ms. Denton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, good afternoon now to all of you. I have one update and one request for all of y'all today. We've put you through a lot today, so I will be as easy as possible. The first one is regarding just the federal pause on programs and grants and the spending. We found that out when y'all did last week. I've reached out to our federal liaisons to try to find out more. This week, we'll spend a little bit more time on specific programs. We have our body scanner grant that we have. We're going to be trying to figure out what that means for us. And then at least one grant that we're discussing, we haven't brought to you yet, that we're looking at that could be impacted, plus the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect today, and how that could impact particularly construction projects. I got a news alert that the U.S. and Mexico reached an agreement to pause tariffs for 1 month for further negotiations. So this will change on the daily. We will do our best to keep up with it and keep you informed, so that you will know what I know.
I know last week we were at the training, myself and Commissioner Davis and Ms. Denton. I know they didn't want to see us coming because that was the only thing we were asking about, grants, loans, and nonprofits. I know they got tired looking at the three of us because we kept posing those questions. And but the executive director, he did come back and update us several times about that and gave us some good information. So anyway.
And I'm on a call every Thursday afternoon with our state association for county managers, and they will focus on this as well. So we should get pretty good information, at least on Thursday afternoons.
Right, and then you maybe let us know through email.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. My second one is a request. April is National County Government Month, and we celebrate that and have historically celebrated it with an afternoon spent with food and music and activities and door prizes, which are very popular, for an Employee Appreciation Day. So because we would like to close county offices completely at 1 o'clock on Friday, May 2nd, I do need your permission to do that because the employees will report out to the 4-H Rural Life Center. You all are invited as well. If you approve that today, I'll extend the invitation information to you. But the request is to close county offices on Friday, May 2nd from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock so that the employees can all have lunch together, do some activities, win door prizes, that kind of thing. For anyone in the public, if you are with the sheriff's office, the detention center, the 911 center, EMS, they will still be working, so calls won't go unanswered. That will provide their lunch for them, for those that aren't able to physically come out to the 4-H Rural Life Center. This has always been a popular event. We always pray for good weather. I said April's County Government Month, but date-wise, we couldn't make it work for a day in April between budget work sessions with y'all and Easter falls in there, and it kind of messed with our schedule a little bit. So that's why we're requesting Friday, May 2nd. And we hope it'll be a little bit warmer.
We've always done this ever since I've been a commissioner.
We did skip last year. They wanted to save the money to do some other things, but bringing it back this year. But we've done it for many years.
Okay. All right, Commissioner, you've heard the information coming from our county manager. What is your pleasure?
So moved for the closing of the county offices.
Okay. Motion made by Vice Chair Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Webb. Any further discussion? And it's a wonderful event too. I mean, I've always gone to it and
Yeah, we hope that all of you will join us. And
participated.
and having it this far in advance, it allows us to get the word out that, we won't necessarily be in the offices that afternoon.
Kind of informal, come out there and have a little fun. I think Tony Brown and I got the electric slide on there one year.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, thank you so much for that. That's all that I have.
All right, thank you. At this time, County Attorney Glenn Rollins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My apologies for not being here when you opened and what happened, so you'll know, at the last moment last week, I was advised that I needed to appear in court with the sheriff's office on a petition by an individual who wanted a copy of some body camera footage from an event that happened back in the summer. By law, those matters are expedited, so Judge Branch had set that before Judge Wolf this morning before he began the criminal term. So I had to be in there with Judge Wolf and with Lieutenant Seeley, and I appreciate your indulgence about that. The only other thing to report to you about this week is that on Thursday and Friday, I'll be at the School of Government with the other county attorneys in the state for our winter conference. I like to joke with you that that's our opportunity to get together and talk about what you all do and swap stories. So that doesn't really happen, but maybe good joke anyway. One other thing, the chairman asked me, have we heard any other word about a decision in our appeal with the Court of Appeals with the City of Rock Rapids? The answer I say is no. The next round of opinions will come out on Wednesday. You all know that I will let you know as soon as we get a decision, and Yes, it's been almost 18 months, and I really don't know why. But we'll continue to watch twice a month and see when it will come down, and I will keep you posted. I don't have anything for you in closed session.
Okay.
There are lots of things happening that might be closed session conversations, but not just right now. Okay.
And I know Commissioner Silver and Commissioner Redden and Commissioner Byrne, they know what we're talking about by this E911 thing, right?
They do. I know Commissioner Barrett, because
I know he does.
the first thing he did
I don't know why I
was
called his name, because he done talked to me about it 20
backed
times.
me in a corner one day and wanted to know all about it. So, but this has to do, just generally, has to do with the responsibility or not of the city of Rock Rapids, for that matter, other towns in the county, to help fund the local expense of the 911 center. We have disagreement about that. It's been in litigation, obviously, and gone to the Court of Appeals. We were successful in Superior Court, appealed by the city, and we're just now waiting, had oral arguments a year and a half ago, and now just waiting for an opinion.
I thank you for that, Attorney Ross. Thank you so much. Appreciate all that you do. And, you know, you're the greatest county attorney to ever walk.
Thank you for saying that. One day I'm going to record you saying that.
On the other business, you all may have something on the other business, but I got two matters that I want to share with you. There is a letter in your packet of information honoring Reverend Dr. C. McCullen, Oak Grove Promised Land Ministries. He's been the pastor for about 50 years of that particular church. And anyway, his church had called me and asked, for a letter that they're going to read at the church service. I think it's the first Sunday in March, and then they're going to have a special celebration on March 22nd. It'll be read again at that celebration as well. But I'm not going to read the letter unless you all want me to. Otherwise, I'm just going to ask for a motion for the approval.
So moved.
Okay, who made, all right, Commissioner Webb, you will second it?
That's right.
Okay, all right, second by Commissioner Barrett. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, now the next thing is, and I'm gonna lean on commissioners and vice chair, Silver and Davis for this. When is the powwow?
This is the third weekend in April.
I think
don't have
it's
a date.
Saturday's April 19th.
Okay, all right. I'm sure that they will get some notice from the tribe about that. But anyway, you said it's April 19th. Okay, all
Always
right.
the third weekend in April. That's
Okay.
all.
All right. Just want to make sure we don't miss that. All right, anything else on the other business?
I just got a question.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Webb?
Several months ago, we had discussed, I think, recreation. We talked about, I guess, the 10-year plan being done, and I inquired about recreation in the Hollister area, talked about the possibility of a walking trail, park, and I just left it at that. And I just want to kind of renew that discussion since the newly elected commissioners on board now, and I still would like to renew that discussion about some type of recreation in that area.
Right.
And I'm not talking about where it has to be managed by somebody at the site. I'm talking about asphalt, brick and mortar type, but something where they can exercise, maybe have a cookout, something of that sort.
Ms. Dillon, I think you had taken that under advisement because aren't you, correct me if I'm wrong, you and Ms. Christina both, aren't you all in the process of revising the recreation plan anyway?
Yes, Yes, sir. We are due for a new recreation master plan. It's due every 10 years. In the midst of those discussions, we have decided to fold that in with our comprehensive development plan that I believe we have proposals from now. This is going to go through planning. And we think that it should be recreation should be folded in with the overall development plan. And so that'll be something that Chris Roundtree heads up. I don't know if, Christina, you have any update on timing-wise?
I do not. He has received 3 proposals, which is what we asked him to do. So I will arrange a meeting with him and review those, bring them back before management.
Ms. Wells, in reference to what Commissioner Webb was speaking about, how can he get that information to you or Chris or whomever for
Please,
consideration?
I mean, I'll make note of it here, but, about the walking trail and some sort of facility for Hollister. And then we'll just, we decide on our consultant, we'll make sure that idea is included.
Yeah.
But they will also have community meetings as they did before, and there will most certainly be a meeting in the community of Hollister, as well as all of our community.
Right. And go ahead, Commissioner.
Go ahead, you
Commissioner
ready?
Silver and I talked about this before we became board members, but we want to try to be responsive to all of the major communities. So we do almost like an investigation that is responsive to the communities to say, what do you all have right now, and what could be added on to what you have to improve recreation and health and other related issues.
Right. If you have any recommendation that you would like to, just make sure Christina, gets that information.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
If I may, just quickly, we do have an existing survey, accessible by QR code. In fact, there are some flyers at our front desk when you go by.
Okay.
I can also email that to you. So we are trying to get as many survey responses from our community as possible, but it does provide an instrument to address what you just said.
Thank you.
Where are we? Where do we want to go? What do we need to get there?
Yes.
Pretty much those three things.
I'll send that out to all of you.
Very good.
Again this week.
That's good, thank you. Go ahead.
Is it possible to have some type of community meetings in different?
Yes.
We will do that.
That will
yes.
be,
That's
That'll be
good.
part of the plan development.
CDP and the recreation.
Let me assure you that once you get into this comprehensive development plan process, you're going to have more meetings than you ever thought you had
Yes.
before, because
It was a lot before.
It is a
It was
very,
a lot.
comprehensive development plan is required under the planning ordinance.
Yeah.
And it has to be reviewed every 10 years, and that whole process is very forward about engaging the public about the comprehensive development plan, including recreation, but including many other things that have to do with the county and where you want to head. So, yes, absolutely, there will be tons of meetings throughout the county in that process, and it's very, very much, very intensive.
Commissioner Silver and then Vice Chair Davis.
I like seriously look at allocating this year, next year, money, because a plan, I'll be honest, I heard about a plan, I talked to people, and they said they done heard about a plan 10 years, ain't one ball been thrown, ain't one brick been slung. We need to get serious, because the number one issue that we're having in rural Halifax County, our healthcare, you ever looked at the rating, and it's like diabetes, things like that. We got to do something, and every time I look, I'm just calling it like it is. I'm here to serve all Halifax County. I see park and recreation. We're talking down at 4-H Club. We're talking that way. We need stuff for not only Hollister. We got Enfield, White Oak. We need a strategic plan to get parks out like other counties that's just as poor as us. If you go, some of them got a park just for walking within every 10 to 15 miles almost you can come and actually do walking or something with a family. And if we're going to ever change those statistics for diabetes, cancer, we got to get serious about those parks. They're just important as anything else is public safety.
Good point. Commissioner Davis?
Ms. Christina, you mentioned something about the proposals. Was that a proposal to get bids for a consultant company to help write a plan?
Correct.
Or okay.
That's right. Companies they'll partner with us very closely to develop that plan, and as Mr. Rollins stated, to do facilitate those community meetings.
All right, anything else on the other business? If not, I'm going to ask for a motion to go into closed session. I know we got at least one matter. Ms. Scott, you have one matter, right?
Yes, just to bring you up to date on a couple of projects.
Okay, did you have anything?
I don't have anything today.
No, sir.
Okay, all right, tell me about that for economic development.
Yes. Yes.
All right, can I get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Commissioner Barrett, second by Vice Chair Davis. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I'm going to ask, if you're not at this, I'm going to ask, first of all, my colleagues to stay still, because we're just going to be quick. And, but if you're not a part of this, thank you for coming. Appreciate you.
See, Jim.